Labor Department finds jobs numbers came in far better than expected, adding about 172,000 positions in the month of May. A 3-judge panel in Virginia heard arguments today in the case of President Trump's planned ballroom at the White House. ABC's Karen Travers.
The Justice Department has been pointing to the recent shootings, the one that was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the shooting that was here near the White House just a couple of weeks ago, to say that there is a security issue and that it's not just about trying to build an event space at the White House, but that this facility will also have a national security impact, talking about things like medical facilities, the bomb shelters, a hospital, as the president has talked about, as well as things built on top to secure this entire complex here at the White House.
A federal judge has thrown out several Trump administration policies which had halted asylum claims from around the world. This is ABC News. No breakthrough yet between the U.S. and Iran. ABC's Tom Soufi-Burrage in Israel says the U.S. has boarded a tanker vessel that it says was not flagged properly under international maritime law.
They say it was being used by Iran to move sanctioned oil around the globe. Now, we have seen similar incidents in that part of the world over the last few weeks. The U.S. has not only been enforcing its own U.S. military blockade on Iranian ports in the Arabian Sea, but also intercepting a number of these oil tankers, which it says is part of Iran's so-called shadow fleet to move around its oil, contrary to U.S. sanctions. So it's about upping the pressure on Iran, but of course Iran still has control of the Strait of Hormuz.
Karen Reed has filed a new lawsuit against 2 Massachusetts police departments and 2 former officers, accusing them of leading a corrupt investigation against her. It comes almost a year after Reed was acquitted in the death of her boyfriend, a Boston police officer. I'm Mike Dubosky, ABC News.
Police on the east side say they've cuffed an accused human trafficker, and he's only 21 years old. We're going to get details on that, but first we go to Lori with KIRO News Radio real-time traffic.
Traffic is brought to you by the Seattle Mariners. Northbound on 599, the off-ramp to Tukwila. We've got some trees falling on the ramp, partly blocking. Reports of a collision west Marginal Way at South Holden Street, North 5 in DuPont. That collision has reblocked and is slowing you as you head past the scene. Seattle to Federal Way, about a minute delay. Linwood to Seattle, a 20-minute drive, and a 2-minute slowdown. Linwood to Bellevue at 22 minutes. If you're heading to Issaquah from Bellevue, expect a 5-minute slowdown. Eastbound at 520, slows approaching the bridge deck, and we have the high wind warning on the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Don't miss fireworks nights and summer long presented by T-Mobile. The next show is June 19th. Get your tickets at mariners.com/fireworks. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Jillian Raftery. Bellevue police arrested a 21-year-old following a human trafficking investigation. Police say the case began last fall after a wave of complaints about large parties at a rental home in the woodsy suburban Lakemont neighborhood. Officers responded to more than 100 calls at that home, including assaults, DUIs, weapons complaints, underage drinking, and they say they even saw parents dropping off high school kids at the house. The suspect now faces possible charges, including second-degree human trafficking, leading organized crime, and money laundering. Investigators need your help to find a driver involved in a deadly hit and run along I-5 in Seattle.
Just before 1 o'clock this past Sunday morning, somebody walking along I-5 South near Mercer Street was hit by a black Honda. That driver stayed and cooperated with police, but witnesses say a second car, possibly a silver or white Kia Optima, also hit that person. Police want to speak with that driver, and anyone with information is asked to get in touch with the State Patrol.
We will.
Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
We will be posting pictures of that second car on our website, mynorthwest.com. And crews had to dump more than 2,000 gallons of water on a Tesla Cybertruck that caught fire after crashing into the center median on 167 near Pacific this morning. Incredibly, nobody was hurt. Federal investigators looking into the Longview tank disaster may lose the very agency designed to prevent future tragedies. The Chemical Safety Board, now examining the white liquor tank rupture that killed 11 workers, is facing a proposal to eliminate its funding. University of Washington professor Marty Cohen tells KIRO 7 TV.
They're not trying to lay blame and cite companies. They're trying to figure out what systematically went wrong.
A House committee has approved $14 million to keep that agency operating, but the funding still needs approval from both chambers of Congress. A homeless village in Spanaway just cleared its final legal hurdle. The News Tribune reports 3 Washington Court of Appeals judges sided with the Tacoma Rescue Mission on Tuesday. That rejects a challenge from a group called Spanaway Concerned Citizens. They have been arguing the project would hurt neighbors, wetlands, and wildlife. The Good Neighbor Village will house about 300 people who've been chronically homeless for a decade or more. It sits on 86 acres off Spanaway Loop Road, with construction wrapping up by 2028. Now we're going to check your weather forecast and get ready for a potential stormy evening. Showers, a high of 64 today, overnight lows in the mid-40s through the weekend. More showers and potential thunderstorms on Saturday. It is 62 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome to the show. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Happy Friday to you all. Jake Skorheim here, sitting alongside. Spike is not here today. He's out doing some stuff. He's unavailable. Laura is back. She's back from jury duty. Laura, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I feel so much wiser.
I bet.
And more, sort of civically involved.
The fate of a man's life was in your hands. And are you allowed to talk about it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was under oath for 2 days, but now, I talked all about it yesterday. Yeah,
right.
Totally free game.
All right. I'm going to ask you more about it later on in the show.
It might even be my Friday favorite.
Oh, perfect. Your experience on the jury. Excellent.
It was most of my week, so.
All right. We're going to get into that. Many, many things today. We have a lot to discuss. One of those things we're going to be discussing is local politics. Representative Jim Walsh is going to join us in studio at 1 p.m. That's going to be a lot of fun. He's going to be here to talk about, among other things, the so-called millionaire's tax, which is actually an income tax, which everybody knows, but they call the millionaire's tax because they think it's easier to sell that way. But Bob Ferguson, governor of our state, he put out a post maybe like a week ago or so, I think, maybe almost exactly a week ago, basically challenging Jim Walsh to run against him in 2028. He says, you don't have the guts, like a third grader. And he did everything except triple dog dare him. And then Walsh responded immediately and said, hey, I'd be more than happy to have some civic debates with you, talk about some of the issues that people care about, since voters are not going to have a say unless they're able to get an initiative on the ballot in November. And crickets from Governor Grim. That's a Freudian slip. Governor Bob Waltz. Bob Ferguson, not Waltz. So Walsh is going to be on here at 1 o'clock to talk about all of that and so much more. Jason Rance is going to join us at 2 p.m. That's going to be a lot of fun. I want to start with some Katie Wilson stuff, though. Katie Wilson, I missed out on this yesterday. You guys may have covered some of this with Spike yesterday and Greg. Great job, by the way, you guys. Thank you in my absence. But Katie Wilson was at something called a Civic Cocktail, which is at the Seattle City Club. It was hosted by Fox 13 anchor Hannah Kim. And she was asked questions about many, many things. And I'm going to play you a clip of Katie Wilson talking about Starbucks. Because Katie Wilson, for better or worse, it's obviously for worse, is probably most known right now for her controversial first act as mayor, which was to start boycotting one of Seattle's not, if not most, iconically known local companies, which is Starbucks. Everybody knows Starbucks. It's synonymous with the city, or was until they now started investing in headquarters in other states for tax reasons. And the very first thing Katie Wilson did when she was elected mayor is she got up on a soapbox and went in front of a Starbucks and started protesting and saying, I'm going to protest Starbucks. Let me play you a little bit of that, and I'm going to play you this cut on Wednesday night where she had an opportunity after all of that stuff has happened now, after Starbucks has announced, hey, you know what? We're going to cut back a bunch of locations here. We're also going to invest in headquarters elsewhere. We're going to wind down our headquarters here somewhat. We're going to start selling off office space. All of these things are bad. These all happened after Katie Wilson got up on that soapbox and said this. This was her very first act as mayor. This is before she was even officially announced as mayor because there was this, she ran against Bruce Harrell. There was the count that took a few days. Bruce Harrell was up by a good margin, and then all the mail-in votes came in, and Katie Wilson picked up a ton, and she ended up winning. And Bruce Harrell calls her on the phone, concedes the race, and then before she even says anything else, she just runs straight over to this event, and this is what she had to say.
Oh my gosh, it is so amazing to be here today. You all are beautiful. Here we are. Thank you to the incredible Starbucks partners and workers who are here today and fighting across the country for a fair contract and for a union.
And then she said, no contract, no coffee.
Together we can send a powerful message. No contract, no contract.
All right, so this was literally message one, and I think probably everyone who voted for Katie Wilson could have cared less. They don't care about businesses leaving. They may not think about that, or maybe they don't even like Starbucks. That's possible. A lot of people think that they burn their coffee. That's fine. That's a fair critique. But it's not a good thing when one of the city's most consistent, longest running, and a very robust employer is now targeted by the mayor in her very first address, essentially as mayor. That was not a good look. And very quickly thereafter, Starbucks announced that they were going to be looking into, and after the income tax was passed by Ferguson and his folks and signed into law. Actually, before it even signed into law, Howard Schultz comes out and he makes that announcement. He's saying, hey, guess what? This is just within hours of them passing the bill before it was actually signed into law, but just passing the bill for the income millionaires tax. Howard Schultz says, hey, guess what? Big news, everybody. And he never mentions the income tax bill, but that's what it was about, obviously. He says, big news, everybody. My wife and I have decided we're actually going to relocate. We're not going to live in Washington anymore. We're going to move to Florida, which is what a lot of rich people do. It's a lot friendlier tax-wise. So they go to Florida. And then shortly thereafter, his company makes the decision to start investing in new headquarters in Nashville, which is very favorable tax-wise. And the response from Katie Wilson at the time was, and this is all building to what Katie Wilson said Wednesday, and I'm giving you kind of all of this information because I'm kind of surprised at what she said Wednesday. I shouldn't be, but I am surprised by what she said Wednesday. So Starbucks announces that they want to head to Nashville. Katie Wilson then does an interview and says like, well, this has been in the works for a long time. It has nothing to do with me or the income tax. And then she gets fact-checked on that, and they're like, actually, no, this has not been in the works a long time. There's no record of Starbucks investing or investigating in Tennessee, in Nashville, in years prior. This definitely seems like it's related. So with all of this, and again, this is Katie Wilson, stop buying Starbucks.
That is why I am proud to join them on their picket line and proud to say loud and clear, I am not buying Starbucks and you should not either.
All right, so there you go with the horns and everything. So then Wednesday night, she's at this event, Seattle City Club, in front of a fairly raucous crowd. This is how Charlie Harger described this. I'm going to read you a little bit from Charlie's piece on mynorthwest.com. It's a great piece. Check it out. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson walked onto the Civic cocktail stage Wednesday night, likely expecting a friendly evening with the Seattle City Club crowd. What she got was a sustained grilling from Fox 13 Seattle anchor Hannah Kim, a rowdy audience that wouldn't stop reacting, and a night so spicy, as organizers put it, they had to remind attendees of the rules of decorum before intermission. All right, so not an area where Katie Wilson would be super comfortable. She's a very awkward person, it seems, when she's kind of speaking off the cuff. And so this is not a great situation for her. But whatever, she did it, so credit to her. But she was asked by Hannah Kim, do you support Starbucks? And she gave this answer. Listen to this, and then let's break it down a little bit.
You made national news recently for comments made
I was going
about
to say, don't
businesses.
ask me about the millionaire tax.
Well, made about businesses and the rich. Let's start with Starbucks. Do you still support a boycott of Starbucks?
I had the pleasure of visiting the Pike Place Market Starbucks a little while ago, and I ordered I think it was a blueberry muffin latte. That was like a staff creation.
Yum.
So that's a no.
I guess I broke my boycott.
Okay.
But I don't know. What do you want me to say about that?
So you support them?
I absolutely support unions, and I support
that
workers.
Question from the crowd.
Yeah.
All right, you heard that. Is that you, Laura? Who is that? Is that Andrew? Thank you. That was great. She says she definitely supports unions. That's a very easy answer. Am I wrong about this? Is this crazy? But is that not like the easiest layup of an answer? Do you support Starbucks? She's already said she's in the shop buying a blueberry muffin latte, which, by the way, I've never heard of that as an order ever. Now, Starbucks sells a lot of things, so it could just be that I've never heard of that. But that sounds objectively disgusting. But then she says, so you buying Starbucks, are you supportive of Starbucks? After all of that, after all the buildup of her saying, no contract, no coffee, stop buying Starbucks, she says, this is my hometown Starbucks. I mean, she's really drew the line in the sand.
And I would like to close with a message to Starbucks. This is your hometown and mine. Seattle's making some changes right now.
It's not her hometown, by the way. I know she lives here, but she was not born and raised here. Not that that matters, but whatever. I'm nitpicky.
And I urge you to do the right thing. Because in Seattle, when workers' rights are under attack, what do we do? When workers' rights are under attack, what do we do? Because this is your city. Thank you very much.
Burp, 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 burp. All right, so I'm going to... this is Katie Wilson one more time when asked specifically about supporting Starbucks. This is the... I did an article earlier in the week, and you guys can go check it out on My Northwest if you're interested, but I made a comparison. She's on the national stage right now in a way that she 100% does not want to be, which is strange given that she ran for the highest office in Seattle and achieved it and won it. But now we've got the World Cup, which is coming in T-minus 10 days. She's on the national stage now. I compared her on the national stage with Russell Wilson, who's another objectively awkward human being and who's going to be on the national stage again because he just signed a deal with CBS. He's going to be an analyst for them for football games. And I asked a question, who's more ready for the national stage? Who's more ready for prime time? The answer is obviously Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson is a winner. And even though he may not be good to start with, he will figure out how to get good at it. And you can trust, if you look at his resume, he was not super high drafted. He ends up coming in, winning the starting quarterback job, even though he was a rookie with the Seahawks. I mean, he just outworks people. And as much as maybe we all he fell out of the limelight or we stopped liking him because he went to another team, all the Broncos stuff aside, all the Mr. Unlimited stuff aside, Russell Wilson figures out how to win. He didn't actually when he went to Broncos and the Steelers. He stopped figuring out how to win, which is why he's not playing football anymore. But for a short time, there was a window where Russell Wilson was just crushing it. And he's rushing, and he's throwing, and he's doing everything. Eminem is putting drops about him in his songs. He had a very bright, shiny moment. I don't think Katie Wilson's going to have a bright, shiny moment. I don't know if it's in her, and I don't think her policies lead to bright, shiny moments. But this is her again. Layup question. Super simple question about Starbucks. You support Starbucks now.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. What do you want me to say about that?
So you
say, yes, I support Starbucks. It's like a really easy thing to say. What do you want me to say about that? Just say I support Starbucks, and obviously I want the business to do well, even if I disagree with some of their policies on unions. Maybe she could support Starbucks and unions at the same time, but she's not saying that. And now Starbucks is like, all right, whatever. We're enjoying barbecue and good music in Nashville, so peace out. All right, this was another clip. We're just going to go all Katie Wilson for this first segment here. This was another clip that she was asked about. She was asked about the housing issue in Seattle and in King County, of which she has a really big say. Right now, the King County Regional Homeless Authority, today, they're actually making their appeal to Seattle City Council about what they're going to do to try to fix their completely broken setup. They have a ton of money that they get to spend. They're $45 million in the hole. $13 million of those dollars are in the wind. They can't even say where it went, which sounds fraudulent. Is a big problem. And so they're trying to convince Seattle City Council members and in turn also the mayor of Seattle to let them stay in business. Although many, many people, including on the city council, don't think that they should be staying in business. They think they should be just shut down for obvious reasons. And so Katie Wilson was asked about homelessness in Washington and in Seattle specifically, which is, obviously where she works. What causes that problem? And listen to this answer, and then you guys can let me know. 888-973-5476, Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line. Is she looking at this problem fairly? Are her eyes open to the possibility that it is not exactly what she says it is? And maybe that's why they're having a difficult time dealing with the issue? Because she blames it on something that I would not blame it on. Let me play this clip and then we can talk about it.
So, I think it's very clear when we look at the data, when we look at different cities around the country and kind of compare the scale of our homelessness issues, what is driving homelessness is housing costs. There is a very, very clear correlation between housing costs and homelessness. And that does not mean that drugs are not a factor. They absolutely are a factor, right? And especially people who have been homeless for a while, right, and struggling with substance use disorder, helping someone out of homeless is not as simple as putting a roof over their head. And that is why, as we're doing our shelter acceleration, we are being incredibly intentional about pairing shelter with services, with case management, with drug treatment, with behavioral health services, with all of the support that someone might need to get onto a better path. But it is very clear, again, that housing costs are what are driving the homelessness crisis, and drugs make everything worse. And, if you fall into homelessness, very often people become addicted to drugs once they become homeless. There are a lot of reasons for that. Or if they have, a light substance use disorder, that becomes a severe substance use disorder. So drugs are very entangled with the homelessness crisis, but the real driver is housing costs.
All right, so she's saying the real driver is housing costs. I would be interested in if she could give a percentage on what numbers she thinks are actually a result of not being able to afford an apartment in Seattle. It's very expensive to live in Seattle. That is absolutely true. There's myriad reasons for that, not the least of which is it's very difficult to build anything in Seattle. So there's a lack of housing because they just don't want to build things in Seattle. If they want to build things, they could. They do manage to do this in other places in a much faster timeline. I've written about this on mynorthwest.com. You can go find it and check it out there. Takes twice as long to build anything in Seattle because they have a whole lot of rules and regulations that are just drowning developers and stopping them before they even get it off the starting line. And so is it a contributing factor? 100%. Is it the majority reason why people are homeless? I would argue absolutely not. And I think a lot of people, you talk to somebody like We Heart Seattle's Andrea Suarez, she would tell you the exact opposite of what Katie Wilson is saying. And she posts videos about this all the time. She texts me, we're friends, and she gives me updates on this stuff. She will go around and she will talk to people on the streets. She sent me a text the other night because she's out there doing great stuff all the time and trying to help people. And she went up to 100. She went up to 100 people on the street, and she said, "Which one of?" And because she has connections to people with housing and facilities that can get people in quickly. She asked 100 people, who wants to get off the streets tonight? Now, the caveat is you can't do drugs and alcohol in the places you're going to go. And she didn't get any takers. They wanted to stay on the streets because they didn't want the barrier of not being able to do the drugs that they're addicted to. I don't think they're there because of housing reasons, though. It's because they're addicted to the drugs, and then they fall off the face of the planet. They end up going where they can get them. And they end up living outside, and it's horrible. But I don't think it's happening because they don't have access to houses. I don't think it's quite offensive to people who are, limited in means to suggest that they just then become drug addicts living on the street. I don't think that's happening. I think most people listening probably would be yelling at the radio, listening to Katie Wilson saying that the primary driver is housing costs. And then you also have to ask yourself, if she was right, even in the scenario where she might be right, which again, I don't believe she is, and the numbers certainly don't back that up. Who's responsible for the high housing costs in Seattle? It would be city leadership and the barriers to building things. So she has a direct ability to, speed that process up, and I would highly urge her to do so if she believes that's a real problem. All right, we got a lot more coming up. When we come back, I got to get to this because this is really interesting. I took a deep dive. There's a new company, not a new company, but there's a company who wants to start a data center. Data centers are this big controversial issue. It's a real hot button, zeitgeisty issue. I didn't know much about data centers, but I've done a deep dive into data centers. And also, I think modern data centers are becoming what nuclear facilities became in the 1970s, which were very unpopular, but people don't really understand why they become unpopular. So I took a deep dive into that too. It is fascinating. The confluence of events that led to basically no nuclear power in the United States for 30 years is kind of insane. And we're going to get into that, and then we're going to compare it to data centers and see how those things stack up. When we come back, stick around.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including overall excellence and investigative reporting.
Just 29 hours later, Joshua Headley sent an unsolicited email to me writing, "I understand there may be a news story coming out."
Thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest's trusted news source. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Spike O'Neill here for Ageless Living. Recently, my aunt had surgery and she was home the next day. But we weren't sure if we were ready or equipped to give the kind of care that she needed. So we called Ageless Living and asked about respite care. A short-term stay that provides 24/7 expert care, Ageless Living amenities, and peace of mind for you and your family. Go to agelessliving.com/spike and schedule a visit. It can be a much-needed break for a caregiver and a chance for you and your family to get a look and a taste of what Ageless Living offers. That's agelessliving.com/spike.
Healthcare costs are rising, and a major driver is hospital prices. They've increased more than 250% over the past 25 years. Families and local businesses are feeling it. At Primera Blue Cross, we're working to change that by negotiating with hospitals to secure fair, responsible prices so you can get the care you need at a cost you can afford. That's coverage that counts. Learn more at coveragethatcounts.primera.com.
Are you a homeowner, 62 or older, and realize that your Social Security and other income may not carry you through your retirement years? Have you ever thought about a reverse mortgage? Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at Tila Mortgage, a local company serving Washington residents for 30 years. And if you want to know how a reverse mortgage works or have questions like, are reverse mortgages safe? Will I still own my home? Or do I really have the option of not making monthly mortgage payments? Call Tila for a no-pressure conversation. They'll answer your questions with personalized recommendations and loan options that can safely help you improve your monthly cash flow, increase your available income, pay off debt, or make home improvements. Call Tila today. Tila, spelled T-I-L-A, is a name you could trust for truthful, honest, and ethical advice for all your mortgage needs. Call 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
Insurance and property taxes are borrower's responsibility. Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
Do you notice sounds coming from your crawl space or attic, or possibly stale or foul odors in your home? This could be that rodents have gotten into your attic and crawl and have made it their home. They tear up the insulation to make nests to have babies. They contaminate it with their biological waste, which can be harmful to your health. And they ruin your home's energy blanket, costing you thousands of dollars a year. If you even think you may have a problem, call Insulation Northwest today, and we will come to your home as soon as tomorrow and perform a free, no-obligation inspection to determine what the problem is. This inspection normally costs $199, but it's yours free just for calling today. If we discover any problem with rodents in your home, we can get them out and keep them out and restore your home's protective insulation blanket back to brand new condition. Let Insulation Northwest give peace and comfort back to you and your family and save you thousands of dollars in energy savings. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? During the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, now through June 15th, new customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi, just $50 a month for 5 years. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Plus, add one line of Xfinity Mobile Select and you can save an average of $60 a month over Verizon and AT&T. You can even try it free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Savings based on 1 gig internet and 1 mobile select line compared to similar Verizon and AT&T plans over 5 years. After 12 months, regular rates apply to mobile select. Xfinity internet required. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable.
When Dennis suggested retirement planning to his wife, Linda, she had the same reaction lots of people do.
Do we really need it?
Then they attended a free seminar with elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayich at LifePoint Law.
He asked me, what do you want? And he truly listened. And at the end of it, it was like, we need to do this.
There are many people on the radio that speak about many things. And when we got here and actually worked with the team that Rajiv has put together, it turns out that it is not just talk, it is action.
And in the worst case?
I said to him, if something happens to Dennis, what would I do exactly? And he said, you pick up the phone and you call Rajiv or you call me. And that right there was like peace of mind.
Register for a free LifePoint Law retirement planning seminar in Tacoma on June 4th, Mukilteo June 6th, Lacey June 9th, or Bellevue June 13th, 6:30 p.m. Space is limited. Sign up at lifepointlaw.com. That's lifepointlaw.com.
Why pay retail? Save big with the largest carpet and hardwood flooring selection at Carpet Liquidators. 7 locations. We've got you covered at Carpet Liquidators.
Why pay retail? Carpet Liquidators.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Jillian Raftery. Ukraine may be turning the tide in the war against Russia. ABC News contributor Mick Mulroy used to work for the Department of Defense.
We're seeing Ukraine hold Russian spring offensive essentially stagnant. And in some cases, Ukraine's even taking back territory. Ukraine keeps advancing its ability to strike long range inside Russia and inside Crimea, hitting very significant logistics targets.
He says Russia has been increasingly targeting civilians, and that's at least part of what's galvanizing offensives. Back in the U.S., an appeals court in Colorado overturned the convictions of 2 paramedics in the death of Elijah McClain. They were accused of giving McClain a fatal dose of ketamine as a way to sedate him during a confrontation back in 2019. A crowd of advocates were there for his family.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until the killing of a black man, black mother's son, is the same as the killing of a white man, white mother's son.
McClain, who was black, was unarmed during that encounter. Washington's Attorney General has steered more state resources towards criminal cases.
Small jurisdictions that don't have the people power, the expertise. We're doing a lot of cases that are multi-jurisdictional. So if folks are stealing stuff from one Home Depot and then they go up I-5 and they steal more stuff and they sell it online, we're taking some of those cases at a higher level than we have before.
Attorney General Nick Brown spoke to the G and Ursula Show on KIRO News Radio earlier today. A thank you to veterans and first responders who love soccer. Bank of America, FIFA, and nonprofit VetTix are teaming up to provide $2.25 million worth of World Cup tickets. Eligible participants can sign up for free at vettix.org or firsttix.org. If you're heading through Seattle this weekend, you're going to want to find another way besides I-5. Northbound I-5 is shutting down from I-90 all the way to Northeast 45th Street from midnight Friday to 5 a.m. Monday. Now we're going to check in with today's traffic. Lori has your KIRO News Radio real-time traffic.
Seattle to Federal Way is a little slow, just about a minute delay at 22 minutes. Linwood to Bellevue, a 19-minute drive, and Seattle to Linwood is 22 minutes. If you're heading from Bellevue to Everett, northbound I-405, you've got a 3-minute slowdown, and into Issaquah from Bellevue, expect now only a 3-minute delay, so definitely getting a little better. 520, you're still going to see a pretty big slowdown until you get to the bridge deck. It's about a minute delay into Bellevue from Seattle, and then 2 minutes slow down if you take I-90. And remember, there is a high wind warning on the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
Stormy evening ahead for us. Showers, high of 64, and overnight lows in just the mid-40s for the next few days. More showers and potential thunderstorms on Saturday. It's 63 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
All right, welcome back to the show. Flying solo today. Spike is out. So it just gives me a lot of chance to talk at you guys. And right now I want to talk about data centers. I saw this piece in the Seattle Times, and I found it really fascinating. There's this company, this Texas real estate firm, who has applied to build a new data center in this building in Seattle. Now, it's funny because the company's called Digital Reality. They're the ones behind the project. They actually put out a statement where they said, this is not a, quote, AI data center, but instead it's a, quote, highly connected, network-dense facility. And will there be some, business supportive service use for co-location data center on site? Yes, but it's not an AI data center because data center has become this nasty word. I looked this up. If you look up data centers online, it's got like a 70% negative, whatever it would be. It polls in the 70% negative from anybody you ask, from a group of people you ask. 70% go, oh man, data centers, that's horrible. I don't want data centers. They're big and they're noisy and they're going to drive up the cost of my electricity and they're going to eat all the water and then I'm not going to be able to drink anything. And my energy is going to be crazy expensive. All of this fear-mongering that's happening around data centers. Now, in this case, this digital, what is this again? Digital Reality, this one they're applying for in Seattle. It would be 380,000 square feet. It would include 38 underground parking spots in I believe it's a 6-story building. What's interesting is this company already has another one of these that they operate in Seattle in a 34-story, 400,000 square foot data center in the Weston building. So they already operate locally a data center that's even larger than the one they're trying to build. But still, Seattle City Council recently had a land use and sustainability committee meeting, and they voted to advance this 1-year ban on large-scale data centers in Seattle until they can do a little more, research on what happens when you put big data centers in. I don't know if this one would qualify as a large data center, even though it sounds big to you and me. I mean, the really big ones that we're talking about are like massive. But this is, I don't believe this would be considered a very large one. But listen to this. The city got 54,000 messages of intense public alarm about the potential data center. This is according to Katie Wilson's office, so take it with a grain of salt. Clearly, they don't like data centers. And so I was diving into this a little bit, and I was listening to all these interviews about it. There's a guy whose name is Mark Andreessen, who I was listening to talk about it recently on the Joe Rogan show. He's like a old internet guy. I think he started Netscape and some other stuff. Anyway, he's a big Silicon Valley guy, billionaire. There's another guy named Mr. Wonderful. His name is Kevin O'Leary, but you know him from Shark Tank as Mr. Wonderful. He's investing in an AI data center, or more than one, a big, massive one in Utah. And they're constantly trying to figure out how to deal with the misinformation that's put out about them. And again, these are all people who are interested in data centers, so take that with a grain of salt too. But he was on NBC, Mr. Wonderful was on NBC, and he was confronted about some of the downsides of a data center. And clearly they don't want him in Seattle. In a place like Utah, where you just have land as far as the eye can see and not a human in sight, which is where Mr. Wonderful is talking about building his, he explained some of the misinformation. And then in just a second, I want to compare this to something else that I'm worried about happening, which is that data centers are feeling, to me, like they're kind of becoming the new nuclear reactor, the nuclear power plant, which up until the late 1970s, America was on track to have nuclear power. And if they had nuclear power, I've done some deep diving on some of the numbers, crazy that we would have, how little power would cost if we were using nuclear power at the rate we would be using it now if that investment and that building had continued. But something happened in 1979, a very specific thing. Now, many of you are probably thinking 3 Mile Island, the 3 Mile Island meltdown. That's part of it. But there is a piece of pop culture that played into that purely by coincidence, like a crazy, crazy coincidence that we're going to get into here in just a second, which completely soured America's views on nuclear power. Now, there are places in the other parts of the world, like France, 70% of their power comes from nuclear. It's safe. They do it in lots of places. Bill Gates, who's a smart guy on a lot of things, a couple things I think he's really dumb on, but a lot of things he's really smart on. He has a company who's trying to build new nuclear power plants that are safe and modern and not the stuff that we're talking about from like the 1960s and 70s that ended up having problems. But even those, the problems that you think about nuclear power come from pop culture and not necessarily reality, which is really wild. So we'll get into that in just a second. But as it compares to data centers, what happens if we take the road not taken? What would that look like if we don't end up doing data centers? Because they are being built the world over. And what happens if in the United States or in this case, Seattle or in Washington, if they become politically a bad thing, so people don't build them? They become toxic, like politically toxic, and then they don't build them, and then you fall behind on all the very positive things that data centers can bring to a local community, of which I can get into in just a second. But listen to this. Let's start with Mr. Wonderful. He's on NBC. He's talking about this data center that he wants to build out on the 40,000 acres of land that he owns in Utah, and he's dealing with some of the questions that he refers to as misinformation. Listen to this.
I want to start out with a simple question. Why does the country need a data center this big, 10,000 acres? That would consume more electricity than the entire state uses in a year. Explain this to my viewers.
So there's a lot of misinformation, including that you just pointed out, that's been put out about this project. First of all, the parcel's 40,000 acres, of which maybe we'll use 9,000 over 10 years. That's lie number one. Misinformation number two is that we're going to use so much electricity that all the rates are going to go up in Utah. We're not using any electricity from Utah. We're building our own power plant off the Rose Pipeline. In fact, giving back power to the people in Utah so that their rates stay stable and don't increase. Actually, this will help that. And the third, and I think of grave concern, you talked about the environment. By the way, I'm a graduate in environmental studies, so I understand the issues. But about the water level in the Great Salt Lake, we're not going to be touching water in the Great Salt Lake. We're a long way from that, and we're not using any of that. And the idea that we're using millions and millions of gallons of water, also a falsehood. But put out by, well, I'm starting to learn who put it out. But the fact is, a lot of the turbines today are much different than they were 20 years ago. They're air cooled. So the idea that all the water is going to be used this way, and the water used to cool chips is like your car now, a radiator. It's self-contained.
Yeah, this loop basically that it goes through. So it goes through a loop, it cools the reactor, and then goes out. You can, just like a radiator, it cools the water back down, then it's used again. It's fascinating stuff. In just a few minutes, when we get back from the other side of the commercial break here, I would like to compare this to what happened with nuclear reactors, which was a technology that America was very much at the forefront of in the 1960s and 70s. And then it became politically toxic. And then they did not build one for like 20-something years. No permits were passed. Nobody could invest in them. Up until 1979, they were just humming. Something happened in 1979, and it was not because of a massive fallout from a disaster. It was because a movie got really, really popular at the box office. At least that's my assessment. I'm gonna play you some of the trailer of this movie. The timing of these events is crazy too, because if one had not happened, if this movie had not come out 12 days before 3 Mile Island, we might be paying half what we're paying right now for power. And it is way cleaner for the environment, like by orders of magnitude. We'll get into all that when we come back. It's very interesting. Stick around. We'll be right back.
KIRO Newsradio is honored to be the recipient of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence and Excellence in Writing.
We can't let hatred become the air we breathe. It poisons us all. Our strength is in unity.
We thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest's trusted news source. KIRO Newsradio, 97.3 FM.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
John Curley here. This baseball season, step up to the plate and get the price of a new heating and cooling system in just 60 seconds on your phone with no pressure. Don't wait. Call the comfort people. HomeComfortAlliance.com. That's HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. No guessing, just answers. Over 100,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Take control and protect your long-term health by knowing your numbers. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Feel better, live stronger. Start now.
Caregiving isn't just hard work, it's heart work. Every day, caregivers bring dignity, kindness, and comfort to those who need it most. Right now, Washington needs more caring hearts. Your kindness, your patience, your heart are needed more than ever. Caregiver Careers Washington will guide you every step of the way. Our friendly navigators help you find training, certification, and employment at no cost to you. Start your heart work today at caregivercareerswa.com. That's caregivercareerswa.com.
Sponsored by DSHS and aired by the WSAB in this station.
There is nothing so special as June in a Northwest garden. Hi, I'm Gina, a designer and sign painter here at Sky Nursery, and I have been a huge gardener since my now adult kids were shorter than my lavender. When I get home from work this time of year, the first thing I do is head straight out into the garden to see how everything is growing and enjoy the spring golden hour. I'm in love with this year's zinnias and lavender, and the rose I added this February is just about to bloom. So I've been spoiling it with a little extra organic fertilizer. And as any gardener does, I'm also trying everything I can to make space for just a few more flowers and veggies. If you still have room for new plants in your life, June is a great time to get them in the ground before the summer heat. Come into Sky and explore the colorful tapestry of trees and shrubs, summer veggies and herbs, fountains, containers, hanging baskets, and more. Sky Nursery, the gardener's garden store since 1953. Visit skynursery.com for free seasonal garden advice and summer events. Happy gardening.
Compassion, communication, results. That's Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com. That's pendergastlaw.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. This all kicked off last segment. We were talking about a data center. There's an application for a data center in Seattle. There's already 30 in Seattle, so any fear-mongering that data centers are the end of the world is unfounded, I would say. There's a bunch of reasons why data centers people could be cautious about them, and then there's another side of it where you go, hey, you know what? They're actually tons of tax revenue for local communities. Many of the new ones, if not all, will be providing their own energy sources, so you don't have to worry about electricity bills raising. as a result. There's a lot of reasons to think that they're actually not a bad thing. I'm comparing them to nuclear power, and I didn't know any of this when I know that we don't invest in nuclear power. I know that when I was a kid and we'd go on road trips, there was these big nuclear, what were these things? I'm trying to find the name of them. The Whoops debacle. Do you guys remember the Whoops debacle? This massive project. Washington State wanted to be a leader in nuclear reactors, and they started this project in the 1970s. By 1983, it had completely run out of money, and the public confidence in the project was just a nothing, and the feelings about nuclear power had completely changed. And now you can, and I think a couple of these were actually built. Those big silos-looking things, they're massive, and those have since been converted into, like, I think it's a business park now. And I think there's like an acoustic sound thing in one of the reactors that's supposed to be very quiet, and they can test quiet or something. Anyway, the point of all this is what happened, because if we had nuclear power today, I did some a deep dive on this. We were, as Americans, we were humming along on nuclear power. In the 1960s and 70s, between 67 and 77, 92 reactors were given operating permits. And then in the late 1970s, it just dried up, completely stopped. Nobody could get a new permit to build anything until the mid-2000s. It finally started to become viable again. Now, the technology has grown immensely. They've continued this around the rest of the world. Places like France, I mentioned last break, they have a lot of nuclear power. 70% of their power comes from nuclear power. And so what would have happened in our country if we had gone down this road? This is now one of those questions, like a road that wasn't taken, a different reality. If we had gone down that road and actually kept building and not been scared away by the 3 Mile Island disaster, which was it a disaster or was it just like crazy bad timing? Nobody died. They did have a problem. Everything operated after the problem was identified as it should have. And scientists basically said, like, any radiation that would have gotten out would have been, equivalent to somebody getting an X-ray. And now it's not affecting anybody. But we stopped building power plants after that. So 3 Mile Island happened in 1979, but something else happened in 1979 too. 12 days before 3 Mile Island, and this is crazy, and I didn't even know this until I was researching this segment. Do you guys remember, or have you heard of a movie called The China Syndrome? So The China Syndrome was based on a book of the same name in the 1970s. Very, very popular. It then gets made into a movie starring Michael Douglas, who was at the height of his long-haired fame at the time. Actually, the 80s were good for Douglas too, and the 90s, so whatever. He was very popular. Jane Fonda was also in the movie. And I have never seen the movie. I was unaware of it until I was watching the trailer this morning. And it feels a lot like probably the way it was pitched and sold is in the wake of All the President's Men, which is like investigative journalist, getting under, figuring out what happened, with the Nixon White House and, revealing all of this stuff. They kind of did the same thing in the China Syndrome. I'm going to play you a little bit of the trailer. This was a smash hit, and this was in 1979. This is 12 days. This came out 12 days before the 3 Mile Island incident. And just think about what this would have done to the public, as they were all queued up to hate nuclear power because of this movie, which was a massive hit. And then 3 Mile Island happens, and then everybody just goes, no nuclear power.
The China Syndrome. It's about people who lie, and people faced with the agony of telling the truth. People like Kimberly Wells, a television reporter paid to smile, not to think.
A few words about a veterinarian who makes house calls on sick fish. Or is it aquarium calls?
Richard Adams, a cameraman who never learned how to play by the rules.
Wait till you get in that other room, get that radiation all over that cute little body.
Jack Goodell, an engineer who knows too much to tell the truth.
In anything that man ever does, there's some element of risk, right? Well, that's why we have what we call defense in depth.
That's Jack Lemmon. Great cast, by the way.
Cares too much to lie.
No accident.
It will start with a tremor in a nuclear power plant. Where it will end will depend on 3 people. The China Syndrome. The harder they try, the more resistance they meet. The closer they get, the more threatening it becomes. The China Syndrome. Today, only a handful of people know what it really means. And they're scared. Soon, you will know.
Isn't that a great ad?
The China Syndrome.
How crazy is it that happened 12 days? It was like the #1 movie at the box office, 12 days before 3 Mile Island. Those two things work together to shut down nuclear power. Who knows what the power situation might have looked like in the U.S. You're paying half of basically what you would if we had continued building. All right, don't let it happen with data centers, folks. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Jim Walsh is going to join me in studio next. Don't miss it. It's going to be great. Stick around. We'll be right back.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards. Breaking news coverage, best newscast, excellence in writing, investigative reporting, sports reporting, hard news. Capped with a prestigious prize for overall excellence. And we thank you, our audience across the Pacific Northwest. You are the reason we strive to be the Northwest's trusted news source. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Progressive's Home Quote Explorer helps you easily find and buy the right coverage for you. It's everything you've always wanted. Well, I mean, as far as a website that lets you shop, quote, and buy insurance in one place. But hey, maybe that is everything you've always wanted. Yeah, people have different types of dreams. And if all you've ever been searching for is a website that helps you choose home insurance rates and coverage, boy, do we have great news about Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Big Trees is Washington's premier tree sales and transplant company. Looking for a big selection of big trees? Visit Big Trees in Snohomish or BigTreeSupply.com.
Beauty, privacy, instantly.
Jason Rantz here. If your water heater is getting older, leaking, or running out of hot water, CM Heating has an affordable solution. Get a new gas or electric water heater installed starting at just $44.99 a month. With CM Heating's Comfort as a Service program, you'll get lifetime repairs and maintenance at no extra charge. Parts and labor covered for life. Plus, same-day installation is available in many cases. Schedule your free estimate today at cmheating.com.
License number CMHEAHL 750LP.
You could sleep through the night without thinking twice. You could take a seat in the middle of the theater. You could drive without worry of where the next restroom is. You used to say yes, and somewhere along the way, you stopped. Not because of one big moment, because of 100 small ones. A little more urgency, one more trip to the bathroom at 2 a.m., one more mental note about where the restroom is. It happened slowly enough that it just became you. But it's not you. It's enlarged prostate, and there's a treatment called aquablation therapy, the only ultrasound-guided robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Find an aquablation therapist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466, 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
Let's talk about your hair. Well, maybe after we talk about my hair. I've got great hair, as you know, and it's because of Advanced Hair. Yep, Advanced Hair Restoration. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results that I can attest to. Guys, it's not magic, but it's close to it. They put hair where you need it most, and bam, it grows. It's actual science. Advanced Hair has top-rated physicians, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins to regrow the very next day. It's even guaranteed to grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now at 425-449-8185. Mention Curly to qualify for $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. It's a limited time offer. Advanced Hair, the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and the team that gave me my hair back. More importantly, they'll do the same for you, guaranteed. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver. From New Nordic, search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon, CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
ABC News, I'm Mike Tabusky. President Trump says the Department of National Intelligence is too big and is pushing for incoming acting director Bill Pulte to downsize the organization in charge of the nation's spy agencies. Oral arguments today in the case of the White House ballroom. A lower court had ordered construction to stop following a lawsuit from preservationists. Now the president's lawyers are asking an appeals court to throw out that move. ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
One of the judges, Patricia Millett, who's an Obama appointee, really pressed the Justice Department on how far the president can go, whether the president could tear down the White House or maybe even if he wanted to, take down the Statue of Liberty, and whether anyone could sue to stop him. And the answer from the government's lawyer was, quote, "I think that's right."
Brendan Banfield has been sentenced to life in prison after being convicted earlier this year for murdering his wife Christine and Joseph Ryan. The man Banfield wanted to take the fall for his wife's murder. This is ABC News. A California judge ruled a few weeks ago that notorious Cars for Kids ad had to stop airing, but now it's back, at least for the time being, with a new court order that is allowing the ad to run. ABC's Alex Stone has details.
This went back to a Southern California man who said he donated a vehicle after he heard the ad on the radio and thought the money was going to be going to needy children. But he then learned, and this was part of his lawsuit, that the money was actually going to Orthodox Jewish programs in New York and New Jersey, and the money was going to Israel. That the money was being used to send teenagers to Israel and for a $16 million building there that the organization has.
Measles cases in the United States have surpassed 2,000 for the second year in a row, according to new data from the CDC. This November, the Pan American Health Organization will evaluate whether the U.S. has lost its elimination status for that illness. I'm Mike Tabusky, ABC News.
King County's Regional Homeless Agency is fighting for its future. We'll tell you all about that in just a moment. But first, Lori has your KIRO News Radio real-time traffic.
South Center to Alderwood now on I-5 is a 54-minute drive that's taking you about 6 minutes longer than usual. 46 minutes if you are on 405. From Alderwood to South Center, so we're going to reverse it now. I-5 is 36 minutes, and 405 will take you 37 minutes. Still seeing a pretty big slowdown on 520 eastbound approaching the bridge. Seattle to Bellevue. On 520, you're going to see a minute delay, and I-90 just a 2-minute slowdown. High wind warning on the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Jillian Raftery. January has arrived as thunderstorms take aim at the Puget Sound region today and tomorrow. National Weather Service meteorologist Matthew Cullen says Saturday looks to be the bigger threat.
Maybe a 30 to 35% chance, so a much higher chance for seeing some thunderstorms around the area. And it's actually going to be Snohomish County southward tomorrow, so kind of through Seattle down through the South Sound.
You can find more on mynorthwest.com. 2 cars hit a pedestrian along I-5 South near Mercer Street last Sunday morning just before 1 a.m. One person died. Only one of the drivers stopped. A picture of the other car is up on mynorthwest.com, and the State Patrol is looking for help finding it. The federal agency leading the most in-depth investigation into the Longview implosion is at risk of losing all of its funding. Here's KIRO 7 TV's Brandon Thompson with more on that.
With more than 3 decades of workplace hazard experience, including fatality assessments with L&I, University of Washington professor Marty Cohen says the Chemical Safety Board, or CSB, is one of a kind.
In order for us to be able to prevent similar incidents,
we may have to learn more about what happened than just what regulations were violated.
In its budget request to Congress, the White House wants to eliminate all funding for CSB in 2027, saying, quote, CSB duplicates more than adequate capabilities in the Environmental Protection Agency.
A young organization handling huge amounts of money led to fiscal mismanagement at the troubled King County Regional Homeless Authority. That's what the agency's chief executive, Kelly Kinnison, tells a city council committee.
The core of many of these issues is the maturity of the organization and the amount of money that was handled by the organization at a really nascent time.
KCRHA is fighting for its survival after an audit revealed organizational weaknesses and millions of dollars unaccounted for. Seattle's waterfront just got a major upgrade. A mile-and-a-half stretch of Myrtle Edwards and Centennial Parks reopened yesterday after a $56 million renovation funded entirely by private donors, according to the Seattle Times. The project replaces lawns with native meadows, widens walking paths, and restores public art. Two rebuilt beaches now offer easier access to Puget Sound, with sandy slopes replacing rocky barriers. Now let's get a check at your full forecast. Like I said, afternoon showers leading to potential thunderstorms tonight and tomorrow. We are going to dry out a little bit more by Sunday, but then rain at times comes back in the forecast by Monday. 62 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the show. 1 hour down. We have 2 hours to go, and we are very, very fortunate in this hour. I've been flying solo today so far, but not anymore. Right now, in studio with me for the first time in person. We've had a lot on the screen, but just the first time in person. Representative Jim Walsh joins us now. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's good to be here. I will try to be Spike, but I don't know if
Please don't do that.
I don't know how well I can play his role, but I'll try.
He's uniquely talented in many ways, so I will not ask you to do that. All right, we got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's get some more serious stuff out of the way first.
Sure.
You, in your capacity as a representative in our state, you represent Longview, which obviously
Correct.
Because of the pulp and paper mill disaster that happened down there and the implosion. What can you tell us? What's the latest on that?
A lot going on, obviously. The recovery process, rescue and recovery process was led by a couple of the fire departments down there, the City of Longview's fire department, and then there's a regional fire district, Cowlitz 2, and they were literally the first responders.
Gotcha.
They were working with federal EPA on what they called the recovery effort after all the bodies had been discovered and recovered and identified, and now they're in kind of a transition phase. The recovery effort is completing. They're still investigating to find out exactly what caused the structure that held this giant tank.
Yeah, 900,000 gallons.
900,000 gallons of a chemical compound they call white liquor, which is used in paper making. It basically softens wood pulp up so that it can be turned into paper, rolled into paper. It's a caustic chemical. People say it's like acid. It's really the opposite. It's a base, and nevertheless caustic.
Very dangerous.
If it touches you,
Yeah.
it doesn't aerosolize. It doesn't get in the air. But if it touches your skin, if you ingest it, very bad. So that gigantic tank, which is like the size of a mid-rise office building, it's a massive structure, failed. Something in the structure holding it in place failed, and
if you look at the
collapsed.
pictures, I've seen the pictures of this. It just looks like it just flattened.
Like tilted, right? Part of it collapsed and it just pancaked. And so they're still investigating structurally what happened. And I caution people about against jumping too far or too fast here. There were people saying maybe a vehicle hit it, or there are people saying that there was obvious wear and tear. Well, we don't know what it was. So that investigation is still going on. There is a bit of a transition going on. So the fire departments, who were literally the first responders on site, running things initially, now are basically handing over the lead to state agencies. The federal EPA was there. They have a special unit trained and equipped to deal with caustic spills. So they're kind of finishing their piece of it, handing over the project now to state agencies, largely labor and industry, L&I, which handles workplace safety and workplace accidents. To some degree, the State Department of Ecology will also be involved. And the investigation continues. We're waiting to hear what the experts say happened structurally. And again, I just want to caution people from jumping to too fast conclusions about it. I know there's a lot of scuttlebutt on social media saying maybe this was like sabotage or eco-terrorism or something. There's no evidence of that.
Yeah. I saw other stories digging into the company's past. Were they investing enough in safety? Those are all questions that will be figured out as time goes.
Correct.
But obviously it's still very
no final report yet. Let the process finish. The main thing was getting the families, the survivors of the people who were killed, getting them closure. I mean, getting them an answer. What happened? Certainty that their loved one, their husband, their father, was identified, and at least they can begin the grieving and closure process on that. And there'll be a lot to say going down the road about taking care of those people. There's still a couple of good, if you want to help, there are a couple of good operations being run by the local Pulp and Paper Workers Union, the AWPPW, and the local fire department is involved in orchestrating that. So there's ways to get online and help if you want, but at this point, let's let the process play out and get answers on why the structure failed.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, we'll keep folks up to date on that as we know more. All right, I want to transition over to something else. You and Governor Ferguson were actually working together on this to make sure that community is well served. Another area where we can well serve the entire community of Washington State, which I think would be very, very valuable, would be if Governor Ferguson answers his own challenge for the two of you to have some serious back and forth discussions. A couple days ago, I think maybe it was a week ago or so, I think it was last weekend, Governor Ferguson got onto social media and he sent off a post about whether or not you had the guts to run against him for governor in 28. And people immediately responded with a lot of ideas and whether or not they thought you'd be successful at that. I think you would be very successful at that. But one of the things that people would like to see is to not wait until 28 and not wait till the official election season. Why not have you guys who have very different ideas about how the state is run, specifically as it relates to this millionaire's tax or income tax, start with that, have some serious civic conversations that people care about, and let folks hear both sides of things. And almost immediately you respond, you're like, yeah, this is a great idea. We should be having these conversations. What do you want to say about that? Has Governor Ferguson answered kind of his own challenge for the two of you to, go at it?
Not really. I think it is a great opportunity, Jake. We could do, I call them Lincoln Douglas style debates, old school debate, conversation, if you will, on topics that affect people's lives. And it's a chance not for one of these kind of quickie 90-minute in and out things, but detailed stuff where maybe we would do a series of exchanges, debates, conversations, discussions, each on a topic. One would be on this new tax proposal. One might be on the pension situation, the pension raid that happened recently to the cops and firefighters' pension. We could certainly do schools. I mean, K-12 school performance is falling in this state. And the funding of K-12 schools, which doesn't always go arm in arm with the performance of schools. We could do safety. We just had we've had a tough couple of weeks in my district. We just had the story break recently of the little boy, Aiden Bevins in Aberdeen, also part of my district, who the father was arrested for the boy's death. He was a 4-year-old boy.
It's a horrible story.
And the parents were troubled. They were in jail, out of jail. They'd had some drug issues. They'd had various issues. And it's the echo of another story we know, the Oakley Carlson case, where these young kids, 3-4 years old, are kind of shuttled between foster care and their biological parents. And we have this state law called the Keeping Families Together Act.
Oh, yeah.
Which was well-intended, but in practice, it's been a disaster.
We had Travis Couture on the show a couple of times to talk about his efforts, which Spike and I disagree on a lot of things. We both totally agreed that in spite of the best intentions of the Keeping Families Together Act, obviously some things have fallen through the cracks. And it actually creates opportunities to just ignore kids who should be getting help immediately. And we had Couture on with us to talk about his proposals that were shot down.
Correct.
Nobody would support them, at least on the Democratic side, or very few supported them. They didn't get anywhere. And it's a disaster. I mean, you have these stories, these DCYF stories that are just completely eye-opening. You're shocked when you hear them. And that is a great topic of conversation for you in Ferguson. That area needs major reform.
It does. And we know mechanically what the problem is. This is what Couture and also another colleague of ours, Representative Josh Penner, has been involved in the same issue.
Sure.
They want reform. And some of my proposals, I ran a bill before Travis's bill that was called the Oakley Carlson Act that was much more broad. It dealt with a lot of reform at DCYF, that's the State Department of Children, Youth, and Families, which is the bureaucratic agency that oversees CPS, Child Protective Services, and other sub-agencies too.
Yeah.
But this DCYF, they're basically in charge of child welfare in our state. And the Oakley Carlson Act would have gone after bigger, kind of more strategic, larger changes in how they operate. Travis's bill, and Penner had a version of that same bill, was much more narrowly focused, and we hoped would have a better chance of getting through. It ended up not getting through, but it probably still is the best way for a quick, immediate fix to this problem, which mechanically lies around this matter of language in state law about child welfare and when a kid needs to be taken out of a troubled home, and using legal language around the term imminent harm or imminent danger. And the way that the law describes that imminent harm, that the child is at risk of imminent harm, is so narrow that the social workers, the CPS frontline people, can't get the kid out of the home.
Their hands are tied.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter, people like beat up on CPS. It's not CPS in this case. There are other issues they got to deal with, but in this case, it's not the frontline social workers at CPS. As you say, their hands are tied by a poorly written law that too narrowly defines this imminent harm. So the social worker can see there's a problem.
Yeah.
But they can't get the
But they
kid
can't
out
do
of the
anything
household.
about it.
Right.
We had this case, and I want to move on to other stuff in just a second, but we had this case. Charlie Harger, a colleague here, does great work, Seattle's Morning News. He was highlighting the kid in the tent, who I'm sure you heard the story.
Yes. Another example.
The 9 or 10-year-old kid who around the holidays was living in a tent. I believe this was somewhere on Aurora. He was kind of vague about the location because he didn't want people going out to protect the kid. This kid who was living in a tent with his mother, who was addicted to drugs and a prostitute. His father was also apparently addicted to drugs and was in and out of the situation. The tent was filled with, I saw videos of it. It was unbelievable. You couldn't imagine a situation where a kid would live in such conditions. Mice, all the things that you would associate with
Not health. Imminent harm.
Imminent harm. It was the poster child for imminent harm, literally. And you have CPS called out, you have SPD called out. People go out there. You have neighbors who are calling all the time saying, guys, please do something. We'll take this kid into our own house.
Exactly.
But they can't because their hands are tied legally. They're not allowed to do that. And then they go out there and SPD or CPS goes, yeah, obviously, if this was our own child, we would want him not in this situation. We can't do anything for this kid. According to the law, he's fine. We're going to keep him where he's at. That is crazy. And it's so obvious that needs to be changed. And, hopefully a conversation between you and Ferguson on something like that maybe could lead to a larger conversation with everybody that needs to be there about actually getting something like that passed through and made into law. Let's shift over. Speaking of law, the millionaire's tax. This, I think, do you think this would be the main issue when people approach you and want to talk about politics, which I'm sure is all the time? When they approach you, what's the number one issue that they're talking to you about?
Well, lately it's been the state income tax, what the governor calls the millionaire tax. Also taxes in general. I would say outside of the last couple of months since this state income tax proposal passed, before that, it was property taxes. So it's either property taxes or more recently now this state income tax. And I refuse to call it a millionaire's tax because it is a state income tax. So it was Senate Bill 6346 is the number. I know whenever I do something like this, Jake, someone always calls or texts me after. You should say the bill number. Say the bill number because we want to look at it. So, okay, the state income tax was Senate Bill 6346, 109 pages long. So a long bill for Olympia. We don't do generally, we don't do the omnibus bills that they do in D.C.
Yeah, they're 1,400
Ours
pages.
have to be tighter. Now, the budgets are an exception to that, but generally our bills have to be tighter. So 109 pages is long for a bill.
For comparison, what's a general bill?
Oh, they're have 5-6 pages long.
Oh, okay.
I mean, some will be longer, but generally bills are fairly short in Olympia.
10 times. This is 10 times longer than the average bill.
And it's really like a Frankenstein monster. When they were putting it together, and the state senator, Jamie Peterson, was the main author of this Frankenstein monster bill.
We had him on, and he told us that there was no issues and nobody would leave the state.
Oh, sure. No, none of problems. It's lovely. Everything's wonderful. Rainbows and unicorns. That's right. Everything's beautiful.
Perfect.
It's a terribly written bill. They had to take parts of the federal Internal Revenue Code, so the federal law on income tax, and incorporate it into this state law. But then parts of that don't work with our state law, so it's a mess. And we can go into some of that. But anyway, 109 pages long, a lot of it having to do with the definition of what is income, poorly written. There's a use of the term AGI, adjusted gross income. Took the worst elements of the federal law, added some extra. It's a mess. Anyway, hundreds and hundreds of sections within 109 pages in this bill. If you follow the numbering, it ends up with 1,208, but it's not quite section for section. It doesn't flow like that, but hundreds of sections within 109 pages. One paragraph about the household exemption on the state income tax. And it's section 314, if you want to go look it up, about 2 sentences long, not very short, saying that there'll be $1 million per household.
So $500,000 per person if you're both hired and
couple. Or if
couple.
you're a polyamorous family, maybe $250,000.
Yeah. I guess it could be any number there. It could be 50,000 apiece.
Anyway, that's exemption. So those households are exempted from the 9.9% state income tax. 2 sentences long, maybe not that. Very short section. It is not structurally tied to any other part of the bill. A lot of the parts that are grabbing like the federal law and adding other language are all interconnected sections. This one's sort of by itself sitting there, section 314. In my opinion, it was designed to be deleted by a future legislature.
Yeah.
With a simple majority vote.
Which is why when he came on, he goes, well, we don't want to tie the hands of anybody in the future. You never know the revenue.
You can't, and also you can't. It's unconstitutional for a present legislature to bind a future legislature.
But they could have set a basement at $1 million, right?
Oh, absolutely. We had an amendment we proposed that would have firmed up this exemption, and it was rejected. In fact, we had a couple different ways of doing it, and they were all rejected. So it's clear to me that the long play, and actually Senator Peterson has been on the record saying he wants a state income tax on every household in the state.
Sure.
So it's a little disingenuous to pretend this is, I mean, he's said before, I want a state income tax on everyone.
Well, he's going to get it.
And so it's set up to knock out this 2-sentence section, and you got a 9.9% state income tax on everyone. The problem is, and this is what you're going to hear a bunch of, Jake, coming up in the next few months as the lawsuits proceed, is the state constitution in Article 7 says that any such tax has to be uniform on all affected people. That is flat, but the language in the Constitution
And
is
that's at
uniform.
1%, right?
Well, that's the 1% is part of it, but this actually applies to any form of income or property tax.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't. The 1% is part of it, but forget the percentage. It has to be uniform on all people, and carving out only certain households is not uniform on all people.
Yeah.
So it's clearly unconstitutional under Article 7 of the state constitution. And by the way, for those of you nerds who are into it, read the state constitution, of course. Read Article 7, because I think Article 7 is one of the reasons I like the Washington state constitution better even than the federal. Article 7 is not just about an income tax. It's about all taxation. It's the general taxation section of the Constitution. And it is crystal clear, well written, about how whatever taxes exist in Washington, they have to be fair. They have to be flat. They have to be uniform.
Who would argue against fair? I mean, honestly, it boggles my mind. This is exactly the kind of conversation that should be happening between you and Ferguson. We've run out of time. Do you have time for a few more minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Representative Jim Walsh, he's going to stick around for a couple more minutes. He's live in studio. We will be right back on the other side of this break. Stick around.
This hour is brought to you by Insulation Northwest.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including overall excellence and investigative reporting.
Just 29 hours later, Joshua Headley sent an unsolicited email to me writing, "I understand there may be a news story coming out."
Thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
There is nothing so special as June in a Northwest garden. Hi, I'm Gina, a designer and sign painter here at Sky Nursery, and I have been a huge gardener since my now adult kids were shorter than my lavender. When I get home from work this time of year, the first thing I do is head straight out into the garden to see how everything is growing and enjoy the spring golden hour. I'm in love with this year's zinnias and lavender, and the rose I added this February is just about to bloom. So I've been spoiling it with a little extra organic fertilizer. And as any gardener does, I'm also trying everything I can to make space for just a few more flowers and veggies. If you still have room for new plants in your life, June is a great time to get them in the ground before the summer heat. Come into Sky and explore the colorful tapestry of trees and shrubs, summer veggies and herbs, fountains, containers, hanging baskets, and more. Sky Nursery, the gardener's garden store since 1953. Visit skynursery.com for free seasonal garden advice and summer events. Happy gardening.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You deserve a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Switch today. Get started for $60 a month for 12 months when you add an advanced solution to a qualifying internet package. Limited time offer. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and autopay with bank account required. Taxes and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
A rising blast, left field, grand slam, Rosarena!
At T-Mobile Park, you've always got the best seat in the house. But for a truly elevated experience, you've got to be in a Mariner Suite. A suite is the perfect spot to get your game and celebration on. Birthday, promotion, engagement, company team building that actually team builds. No matter your event, we've got a suite you'll love. Group suites can fit 30 to 400 people for big-time bashes. And private suites offer just that, an upscale experience for more intimate gatherings. All Mariner Suites offer an incredible view of the ballpark, so you can't go wrong. Plus, you and your guests will enjoy premium catering, VIP parking, private Skybridge entry, and more. And season ticket members get 15% off. Reserve your suite today at mariners.com/suites.
Bases clearing, 3-run double by Josh Naylor. Holy smokes, the Mariners have the lead.
Mariners baseball, Trident's up.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers with back taxes owed to the IRS. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, you may now be eligible for relief through current IRS initiatives for struggling taxpayers. In some cases, taxpayers may qualify to reduce as much as 99% of what they owe. You may already be experiencing wage garnishment, liens, levies, or audits and be unaware of this important information. Call Guardian Tax now to see what relief you may be eligible for at 800-404-7986. By taking action today, you may be able to stop all collections and resolve your tax problem before your tax problem gets worse. Tax experts are standing by to review your case and fight to slash your debt dramatically. Don't let your tax problem get worse and miss this time-sensitive opportunity. Check your eligibility with Guardian Tax now. Call 800-404-7986. 800-404-7986. That's 800-404-7986.
Jazz Alley invites you to experience the Brubeck Brothers Quartet, carrying forward a legendary jazz legacy with fresh energy and swing. Shows run June 2nd and 3rd. Tickets at jazzalley.com. Next up, Marcus Miller.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. The King County Regional Homelessness Authority is answering questions after that recent audit found the agency mismanaged $13 million. CEO Kelly Kinnison tells the Seattle City Council.
The core of many of these issues is the maturity of the organization and the amount of money that was handled by the organization at a really nascent time.
Housing Authority also faces a $45 million deficit. The agency is fighting for its survival. Members of both the Seattle City and King County Councils want it shut down. Another weekend and another freeway closure to tell you about. Here's KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery.
Yep. I-5 northbound in Seattle is shutting down all weekend from I-90 to Northeast 45th. This is to dismantle the work zone along the Ship Canal Bridge. The freeway will be clear through the World Cup. Then state crews will close northbound lanes again the weekend of July 10th to put it all back so construction can continue. Ramps start shutting down tonight at 9 p.m., reopening Monday at 5 a.m. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
And we turn now to the closing bell reports and a better than expected monthly jobs report. ABC's Sherry Preston has more on the May numbers.
The U.S. economy added 172,000 jobs in May, almost double what most analysts had been predicting. That lowers the risk of a recession. However, wage gains were modest at best. Young people are finding it tough to break into the job market because so many companies, while they aren't firing people, aren't really hiring them either. And employees haven't been leaving jobs they don't like either. The number of people who quit in April dropped to the lowest level since August of 2020 when COVID was running rampant. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
If you just graduated and you're job hunting in Seattle, brace yourself. New data from payroll firm ADP ranks Seattle as the 38th best market for new grads out of 53 big metros. The Puget Sound Business Journal reports the hiring rate here ranks 43rd in the country. On Wall Street today, NASDAQ closed down 4% as stocks slid after that strong job data Also put the rate hike on deck. Looks like the NASDAQ lost 1,100 points. S&P down 200. Dow also down big, nearly 700 points. And now to the real-time traffic desk. We check in with Lori.
And traffic is brought to you by the KIRO Newsradio App. Northbound I-5 at Porter Way. Look out for a collision. It's backing you up all the way to the T-Dome. Southbound I-5, you're going to see off and on slowing from 512 all the way to State Route 101. Northbound 405 in Renton, you're going to see a little bit of a slowdown. Both directions of I-5 slow through Seattle. Southbound slows from Northgate. And looking at the lake bridges, you're going to see a 1 minute slowdown, 520 Seattle to Bellevue, and 2 minutes 90 Seattle to Bellevue. There is something going on 520 that's got you backed up from the bridge deck all the way to I-5. US 2 slows both directions, approaching 522 in Monroe. Text app to 888-973-5476 to download the KIRO News Radio app, listen to your favorite shows, and get the latest news and updates sent straight to your phone. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
Got showers off and on today. Come tomorrow, more widespread storms with the chance for lightning, thunder, and some downpours, and also some high elevation snow. Right now, 62 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
All right, welcome back to the show. Joining me live in studio for another segment here is Representative Jim Walsh. Thank you so much for sticking around and making the time.
Yeah, it's interesting to be here in person. I usually Zoom in or call in.
It must be very intimidating to be around so much star power. All right. One of the reasons I wanted to have you in is Governor Ferguson. Let's get this out of the way real fast. He put out this thing about you saying you don't have the guts to run against him. You responded and say we should do some debates. If we can get some debates set up, if locally here he agrees to it, would you do one with him here on the show? If we invite you, fantastic. That's great.
I think it ought to be the consistent would be the two people representing kind of two perspectives on how to do things. We should do different particular formats. Do one here. A lot of people have said, get Brandy Cruz to do one. Some people would want, like Hannah Craig, get somebody from the far left to do one. Sure. Do as many as we can.
All sides, all
places. Do it different places. I think we should do it. That's the beauty of the old Lincoln Douglas debate style. Back before the internet, before TV and radio, they went around and they did these all around. In that case, it was the state of Illinois, but they did wherever. They would just do them all over the place and let each local town kind of ask the questions they wanted and do like that.
When this first started kind of percolating, this idea, I used the movie. Have you seen the movie Seabiscuit with Jeff Bridges?
Sure.
I use that as a comparison because you're kind of the spunky Seabiscuit who's got the talent and obviously I think has the legs to actually do something special. Ferguson feels more like the War Admiral, old horse who's had it easy because he comes from a state where everything's just kind of handed to him. And War Admiral did not want to compete against Seabiscuit. He didn't want the plucky upstart to get a chance because he didn't want to be embarrassed by him. I'm wondering if that's the reason that Ferguson has not responded to any of these calls, and there's been many of them now, for you guys to actually sit down and have a conversation.
I'm sure. The governor, has what he's good at, but I want to be diplomatic. Improvisational, like off-the-cuff, unscripted exchange, probably not his strength.
I would agree with you.
He's a guy who wants to have
Wilson
his talking
are the same
points.
In that way.
Yeah, truly. She's probably worse than he is, but whatever. I mean, it's not their strength. I mean, their strength, what they're accustomed to, the way they've come up through their political system is here are your talking points. Here's the script. You can literally see when you do events with them. Sometimes it's a piece of paper. Sometimes it's like a Kindle or some kind of iPad or something, and they've got literally
with Ferguson,
their points
it's a Zune. No, just kidding. It would be great to see like no prearranged questions, real conversation. That's the cool thing about our format here is you and I are speaking live. The audience is hearing it as it's coming out of our mouths. It would give you guys an opportunity to have a civil conversation, to challenge each other on thoughts and ideas, which oftentimes it feels like people are kind of speaking in a vacuum, which that would be the opportunity for the audience to like hear both sides.
Break the bubble. Yeah.
Break the bubble, 100%. All right. speaking of bubble, I want to get to something. We were talking about this just before you came on the show. Data centers are becoming like a scapegoat now. I think it's becoming what nuclear power was in the early 80s, in the late 70s. And what I'm worried is going to happen. But first, what's your take on data centers? And then we can chat a little bit about it.
Well, it's sort of become talk about a scripted talking point. It's become a meaningless cliche in politics. Data center. Well, I'm for data centers. I'm for whatever. I'm for business that makes sense. I'm for innovative tech. I'm for all the things that our state has traditionally been good at.
Yeah.
I think this data center has become a buzzword. I mean, each project is its own thing. Some data center projects make sense. Some maybe they don't. I understand that. But to sort of blanket statement, we don't want any data centers in our state is stupid. I mean, why? I mean, there are areas like Quincy and Central Washington that have blossomed by embracing data centers there, and their local economy is doing
Revenue
well.
Pours in.
Right.
Can you speak a little bit if you have much insight into this? I don't know if you do. I haven't asked you about this yet, but there's a big, huge complaint about if you bring a data center into a place. They used to, like Seattle City Council just passed this thing, basically like a moratorium on data centers for at least a year.
So dumb.
It seems so dumb. There's like more than 30 already in Seattle, but whatever. They're basically saying like, well, they're telling everyone that if a data center comes in, your energy bills, you're going to be paying for it with your high energy bill. When a lot of these new data centers are coming in with their own energy sources.
Well, I mean, you talk
for
about
that very
nukes.
reason.
They want, a lot of data center operators want to use what they call small modular reactors, SMRs, which are new tech version of nuclear energy, smaller than traditional nuclear energy facilities, cleaner, we hope, we expect, than old tech. And a lot of the data center proponents are saying, look, we will use our own generator. We'll use these modular nukes and we'll generate our own electricity,
power,
and we'll sell some back to you at cheap, because we'll probably have more than we need, and we'll give it back to the grid. There's a kernel of truth in the complaint about the effects on utility bills, and this is the kernel of truth. Our state has given data center developers certain tax breaks to encourage that business. And this is going back a few years, but we have done that in this state. Now, there's no direct link to an increase in your utility bill, but every tax incentive is paid for somehow.
Sure.
Usually by shifting around different tax burdens among different taxpayers. And there has been an effect in some cases where utilities have been taxed more heavily and then have to pass that tax on to somebody somewhere.
Ratepayer.
They pass it on to ratepayers. So it's not completely irrational, that complaint, but it is overstated. It's not a direct cause and effect that your utility rate will go up because of a data center.
Now let me ask you this. If you had to compare the two as it affects other people's rates increasing, data centers versus, for climate reasons, modernizing power grids in Washington state. Like for instance, they are wanting to switch over to cleaner energy sources, and to do that, they're having to shut down reliable things that we use, like hydropower and things. And then that in turn, it means that people are paying higher rates. Like, what's going to cost people more? Switching over to clean energy through climate stuff, or data centers coming in and maybe being on the grid?
Well, it's not the data center part. That's not the problem. I want to unpack the other side of your equation there on this clean energy grid thing. We have super clean energy in the state of Washington. A combination, mostly of our hydro resources, but to some degree, some of our other resources. And I mean, solar and wind are part of it, but nuke is also part of it, or at least should be part of it. But the main engine of our clean energy in this part of the world is our hydro system. The hydroelectric system along the Snake and Columbia rivers is one of the great triumphs of government, Jake. That's why it's so weird to me that the big government left wants to pull the dams. Dude, what are you doing? This was like Franklin Roosevelt's great victory.
Yeah.
Was creating this system of hydroelectricity, which makes cheap, clean energy for us to use. And you want to wreck it? What are you, stupid? Leave it in place. And the real key is stop selling all our clean, great hydro energy to California. Let's keep our clean, great hydro energy here in Washington.
Make it cheaper for us.
And make it cheaper for us. Right now, we're selling this resource to other states because of their local demands. Forget that. And this gets to the whole thing where we want to combine our carbon credit market, the indulgences, the permits to pollute that you got to buy.
Yeah.
We want to connect that with California and with, Ontario, Canada. Or
Please
something. No. We want no part of their carbon market. We want to keep our system as independent and clean and functional as we can. And you know my position on this, Jake. We got to get rid of the Climate Commitment Act. It's a boondoggle. It is a hardship on working people. It makes gas and diesel and propane and everything more expensive, and that does raise your utility bill. The carbon credits, climate, and that is the direct link to raising your utility bill. The tax incentives we give to the data centers, indirect effect, but not direct. The carbon tax, the Climate Commitment Act, is a direct driver to your utility bill.
And people are feeling that every time they drive to a gas station.
The utility bills are going to be a problem, man, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, it's not going to get any better unless we get new leadership in there. Freudian slip.
Don't do this,
Representative Jim Walsh, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate you making the time.
Good to talk to you, man.
Great to talk to you, too. And Governor Ferguson, we'd love to have you join us as well, so please answer the call. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Stick around.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the recipient of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence and Excellence in Writing.
We can't let hatred become the air we breathe. It poisons us all. Our strength is in unity.
We thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest's trusted news source. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
It started as a puddle.
Where?
In the shower.
Uh-oh.
Then the kitchen sink.
Started backing up?
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
Clogged up.
Right. No problem.
Beg your pardon?
There's no clog we can't clear.
You're Dan.
From Apollo Plumbing.
This is going to get pricey.
How about $83?
To clear my drain?
Apollo Plumbing clears main drains every day.
For $83?
$83 or it's free.
What's the catch?
No catch. We'll even do a camera inspection.
Why's that?
It's the best way to find the cause of your clog.
And it's included?
No extra charge. Truth is, we hate clogs.
I don't love them.
Seen them all.
Ew.
I promise. There's no clog Apollo can't clear.
Guaranteed.
83 or free.
Goodbye, slow drains.
All it takes is an accessible clean out.
And Apollo gets my drains draining again.
You call, we come, it's fixed.
My heroes.
Just doing our job.
Thank you, Apollo Plumbing.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. No guessing, just answers. Over 100,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Take control and protect your long-term health by knowing your numbers. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Feel better, live stronger. Start now.
This baseball season, Home Comfort Alliance is changing the game. John Curley here. Get the price of a new heating and AC system in just 60 seconds on your phone with no pressure, no waiting. Just a few questions and you get a winning personalized price. That's a home run. And if your system is over 12 years old, it could be costing you up to 20% more or could soon fail. Score a personalized price for a new system in 60 seconds at HomeComfortAlliance.com. Call the comfort people. Home Comfort Alliance.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
G. Scott here. Safeway wants you to know SunBucks gives qualifying families $120 per child for summer groceries. Some families are signed up automatically. Others need to apply. Find out if you should apply at freesummermeals.org.
Nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all. Sound like your home? Then call for your free inspection.
InsulationNorthwest.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. So great to talk to Representative Jim Walsh. Very nice of him to stick around for a couple segments. Really good energy, that guy. I don't know if it can be matched by another local politician. So if you missed any of that interview, go back and listen to it on the podcast. Lots of fun. All right, this is a really interesting story, and it gives me an opportunity to promote one of my favorite movies of all time. So that's why I'm going to get into this. Apparently, the Northern Lights are supposed to be around. I guess last night they were, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, there was a G3 strong geomagnetic storm watch for last night, and maybe even a little bit tonight. And so one of the interesting things about this is I go out and I will, so it's just, these are Aurora Borealis. These are like the Northern Lights. I will go out and watch these, or I'll at least look for them. And I'm kind of convincing myself that I can see something in the sky when I don't think I can in reality see anything. My eyes are kind of tricking me. And so what I've started doing, and you guys may have done the same thing, is I will hold up my iPhone and I will look through my iPhone at the sky, and magically I can see the Aurora Borealis a little bit better. It's especially good when you take a picture. So like, here's a little helpful hint for you. If you hold your phone up at what you think you're seeing as the Northern Lights, you can actually take a picture and it will be in way better contrast. And I looked this up, why this is possible. And I guess your phone is using something called long exposure or computational photography. And what it's doing is it's stacking multiple frames together over several seconds, and it's allowing all of this light that your eye can't hold on to, because your eye can't hold on to these things in the same way that your phone can. And it's essentially like cheating the system. And your phone's able to hold on to these things much longer than our regular eyes can do it. And so then it can snap a picture, and it's something that you can have. But then the question is, if you're just looking at it through your phone, is it really there? Because I can use AI on my phone to do all sorts of things. I could put a T-Rex in my backyard, and it doesn't mean that there's a T-Rex really there. All this to say, One of my favorite movies. If you guys haven't seen this movie, it's 26 years old now. So spoiler alert, it's very good. It's called Frequency. And it's all based around this idea of the Northern Lights happening, which apparently is as some result of something that happens with a sun flare. And it messes up the frequency being used by Jim Caviezel's character and Dennis Quaid's character in this movie called Frequency. It's so great. I'm going to play you a little bit of this. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it this weekend. It's really fun.
Once in a decade, massive solar storms invade our atmosphere, disrupting global communications.
John, it's your dad's old ham radio. Let's go over to the den, huh? Plug it in.
And causing unexplained phenomena.
W2QYD. This is Frank Sullivan. Hello? What'd you say your name was?
Frank Sullivan.
Is this some kind of joke?
That will allow John Sullivan to talk to his father.
What do you say we tame this Bronco, huh? You and me, spirit and guts.
Who's been dead for 30 years.
Bah, bah, bah. It seems like a really silly premise, but when you watch the movie, totally believable. It's really fantastic. By the way, Jim Caviezel in the early 2000s, crushing it. There was this, Count of Monte Cristo, which was one of my favorite movies of all time. Really, really good. Very different story than Frequency. It's actually not related at all. But I would highly recommend Frequency. I don't know if this could happen in real life. I like to think that it can. The idea that like these radio signals are going out there and they're being messed up and somehow moved around. Andrew's shaking his head. That's impossible. Is it impossible? Why? Why is it impossible?
Because time travel is not possible, Jake.
It's theoretically possible, according to Einstein.
Nah, I don't buy it.
I don't think he ever... And unfortunately, he didn't live long enough to see Frequency. Because if he had, I think he'd be even more encouraged that his theories were probably correct. Well, even if it's not possible, whatever. It's still a fun movie. Check it out. Dennis Quaid's fantastic. Jim Caviezel's fantastic. And it's just really cool. You're going to like it. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Jason Rantz from Seattle Reds 770s Jason Rantz Show is going to join us next. Lots of stuff to chat about. He has strong opinions on Russell Wilson. And as we all know, Jason's a huge sports guy. So we'll talk to him about that and many other things coming up. Stick around.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy. Pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Are you looking for the best deal on a new home? Discover the D.R. Horton Home of the Week. With new home communities from Lacey to Stanwood, ranging from the low 500s to the high 1 millions, D.R. Horton has the right home at the best value for you. Your new home is within reach, so what are you waiting for? Learn more about the D.R. Horton Home of the Week. Visit drhorton.com and schedule a tour today. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? During the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, now through June 15th, new customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi, just $50 a month for 5 years. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Plus, add one line of Xfinity Mobile Select and you can save an average of $60 a month over Verizon and AT&T. You can even try it free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Savings based on 1 gig internet and 1 mobile select line compared to similar Verizon and AT&T plans over 5 years. After 12 months, regular rates apply to mobile select. Xfinity internet required. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable.
Your medication for enlarged prostate is working. That's what you tell yourself. You're up 3 times a night instead of 5. The urgency is manageable. The stream's not great, but it's fine. That's the problem. Fine. Enlarged prostate, or BPH, doesn't pause because the medication takes the edge off. The prostate keeps growing. The bladder keeps working harder. And over time, those changes can be harder to reverse. But surgery? Not for you, right? Aquablation is not the surgery you're picturing. It's the only ultrasound-guided, robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Don't wait until things become unbearable. Find an Aquablation urologist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466. 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. President Trump upping the pressure on the incoming acting director of national intelligence, Bill Pulte, telling the Wall Street Journal the ODNI is too big and that cuts are needed. The president also weighing in on the latest jobs report, calling it great. The Department of Labor statistics this morning showing the country gained 172,000 jobs, nearly double predictions.
Leisure and hospitality went on a hiring spree in May, adding 70,000 jobs, including 48,000 just in food, services, and drinking places alone. Local government also saw a strong month, and healthcare continues to show strong gains. Meanwhile, we're continuing to see a decline or stagnation in white-collar jobs. Financial activities took the biggest hit, declining by 22,000 jobs in May, and now down 107,000 jobs since a recent peak in May of 2025.
ABC's Taylor Dunn. And an appeals court heard arguments today from the president's lawyers who are challenging a decision that halts construction of a new ballroom at the White House. This is ABC News. No real movement yet when it comes to peace negotiations between the U.S. and Iran after President Trump rejected a potential plan. ABC's Tom Soufi-Burridge reports from Israel.
President Trump was talking about a potential plan that was on the cards, he says, at the very beginning of the war. It would have involved special forces, U.S. special forces, airdropping into Iran. He said heavy equipment would also have been airlifted into those areas, and the idea was for those special forces to conduct some kind of engineering operation to extract some of, or if not all of, Iran's stocks of enriched uranium, which are thought to be buried deep within mountains.
To the war in Ukraine, where Russia's Vladimir Putin rejected an offer from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to sit down for peace negotiations. Recently, Ukrainian forces struck St. Petersburg using drones to hit military and oil facilities. I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Coming up, a big announcement by Mayor Katie Wilson on surveillance cameras. This is after Lori at the traffic desk.
Traffic is brought to you by Seattle Sports. We had an earlier accident in Alderwood, northbound I-5 at 405. That's cleared. Still a bit of a slowdown approaching the scene. Northbound 405 in Renton, you're going to see a little bit of a slowdown. Even the southbound slowdown as you're heading on 405 southbound through Swamp Creek. Both directions of I-5, a little heavy through Seattle. Southbound slowing from Northgate. Bellevue to Everett, northbound 405, you're going to see an 8-minute delay. And southbound 5, Seattle to Everett, a 5-minute slowdown. Still seeing that off and on slowing on I-5 southbound from about 512 all the way to State Route 101. US 2 slowing past 522 in Monroe, and high wind warning on the Narrows Bridge. Download the Seattle Sports app to stay in the know with the latest news, scores, and opinions about your favorite teams. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
KIRO News Radio. Breaking news.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson now says she will activate those stadium district surveillance cameras for the FIFA World Cup. Wilson says an updated briefing from Seattle Police and the FBI identified, quote, general but credible security threats. This decision follows weeks of pressure from city council members and the police union. Mayor had previously kept the cameras off over privacy concerns. Seattle's first World Cup match is June 15th. A group of neighbors in North Seattle will march block by block along Aurora Avenue tomorrow night. They want something done about the human trafficking and repeated violence that explodes once the sun goes down. Peter Orr lives a few blocks off Aurora.
Drawing public attention, drawing more public support for public safety.
He says their community group invited the mayor and their city council member, Deborah Juarez, to see for themselves. We have reached out to see if they will attend. Police say they need your help to find a driver involved in a deadly hit and run along I-5 in Seattle.
Just before 1 o'clock this past Sunday morning, somebody walking along I-5 South near Mercer Street was hit by a black Honda. That driver stayed and cooperated with police, but witnesses say a second car, possibly a silver or white Kia Optima, also hit that person. Police want to speak with that driver, and anyone with information is asked to get in touch with the State Patrol. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
There is a picture of that second car on our website, mynorthwest.com. A planned downtown Seattle data center drawing mixed reactions as the city considers hitting pause on those projects. KIRO 7 TV's Jack Bilyeu explains.
The sign still says Bed Bath & Beyond, but that business is gone, and its former building may soon be as well. Renderings submitted to the city in May give an idea of what the new building could look like. It's described as 6 stories tall and would feature a research lab, commercial space, and a data center.
Downtown's where it's at.
People we spoke to say they're fine with the project as long as it's eco-friendly. Permits clarify this would be a co-location data center, which means servers would be rented or leased out to other companies and organizations.
And the city council is expected to vote next week on a temporary moratorium that could reshape how those data centers are built. To your forecast now, we are seeing a mix of everything right now. Some sun breaks, some light rain, some pockets of heavy rain as well. Come tomorrow, downpours and a chance for some lightning as well. Right now, 57 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the show. 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. Lots of great stuff to get to. Jason Rance from Seattle Red 770 AM, the Jason Rance Show, joins us right now. Jason, welcome to the show.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
We got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's start with this breaking news. We just heard about there from Aaron Granillo in the top of the hour news break. Katie Wilson is now saying that she's going to go ahead and turn those cameras on. I can read you some of her statement. Did you see this?
Mm-hmm.
She says she received an updated briefing from Seattle Police Department and the FBI on the current global and local threat environment, the breadth and depth of intelligence gathering that informed the briefing, identified, yada, yada, yada. I'm turning the cameras on.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
Because this is so silly. Nothing has changed. Literally nothing has changed, except now she has what I think she perceives to be as a justification to turn everything on in a way that's not going to embarrass her politically, and yet it's going to embarrass her politically, which is why you do it on a Friday afternoon so that people don't pay attention after the next couple of days. That's the reality. There's no new threat that didn't exist a few days ago or a few months ago, right? It's the exact same level of threat, and she just knew that her position was untenable. She was getting a lot of pushback locally that I don't think she thought was going to happen.
Yeah, Rob Saka, City Council.
Although, remember, Rob Saka is running for mayor. You heard it here first. And he's doing
Actually,
this.
I said that the other day.
I said it. No, I said this a few months ago.
Did you say what? When was it? 2 months ago? I said 3 months ago.
I said it 4 months ago.
Really?
Uh-huh.
What did I miss?
Wait, no, you said 3 months ago?
Mine was 7. I said it a year ago.
No, I said it in 2013.
We've killed the joke now. We both think that Rob Saka is
He's clearly running for mayor.
Yeah.
But beyond that, her position just didn't make any sense.
Zero sense.
It made zero sense. I get the lazy talking point coming from folks on the left that it's going to be used by ICE or it's going to stop women from getting abortions. Like, it's literally, that is not happening in Seattle. There's no threat of that happening in Seattle, period.
They also made a big to-do about saying that they passed local laws to protect the federal government from getting access to these very things.
It's phony. She's being reminded that activist Katie Wilson and Mayor Katie Wilson cannot always be the exact same person. And when you take positions that are intended to make the activists happy, doesn't make for really good policy many times. Sometimes you can argue that it does or it doesn't make a difference. In this case,
it's bad policy.
You're probably also getting pushback from the federal government saying, lady, we've installed these for you.
Yes.
The intent is so that we can, God forbid something were to happen, we would have some evidence that we can use as part of the investigation.
I mean, per Rob Saka's speech, I mean, he was at the Boston Marathon the day that it was bombed. I mean, he remembers the whole Tsarnaev thing like we all do, but he, like, from a firsthand personal experience, he was there. Obviously, Seattle was going to be the only host city not using these cameras. What's shocking to me is that she held out for so long. I honestly, I was trying to get at the finer points of this with Spike the other day. We were both trying to, because we both agree she should definitely have these things on. She's obviously seen the light. But the question is, what took her so long? Why did she drag her feet so long on this? Was she saving it up as a possible political win that she wanted to have? And it made it, like, what? Why wouldn't she have just said, like, 2 weeks ago, yeah, obviously, like, the World Cup's coming and we want to make sure everybody's safe, and everybody else, Los Angeles, everyone else is using these.
In fairness, I don't know if there is a quote-unquote right time for you to walk something like this back. So I imagine you do it at the last possible moment.
Step into it in the first place.
100%. But she had already done it. So from her perspective, you do it at a time where it's going to get buried in the news. You do it on a Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do it literally right before the World Cup, because that's a lot of political pressure. So you do it. I don't know if there's a perfect time to do it in the context of you shouldn't have had to do it from the beginning.
She's trying to avoid as much blowback as she can, which is why she did it today. Okay, so that's good. That's good news that she's turning the cameras on. In news that's maybe not so great, you have an article on mynorthwest.com right now people can check out. She's very excited because she built 75, or they're going to? Did they build? Did they open it? Or is it just they're now underway? These 75 open. Shelter units.
SeattleRed.com, and yes, they're currently open.
Okay, so they're currently open. Now, 75.
Out of the 500 that she promised.
That's the backside of the story.
Yeah.
She promised 500 by World Cup, which again is 10 days from today. She's not going to hit that number. I assume 75 is the end of it. Am I right in thinking that? Unless there's another one comes online next week.
She made two promises: 500 by World Cup, 1,000 by the end of the year. And as I said, you probably said this as well, there was zero chance she was going to get to 500 by June. There's zero chance she's going to get 500 by the end of this year.
Well, you saw the revamped number? She said they're hoping to get to 300 now by the end of the summer.
Yeah, so that's also probably not going to happen.
Half the amount in twice the time.
Yeah,
and
it's the Seattle way.
It should be the motto. But this is a big victory? Is this a big victory?
No, she wants it to be seen as a victory, and she tried to reframe this during her press conference a couple days ago or so, where, I lit a fire under the... No, this is embarrassing. You made a promise that you were not able to keep. She did it for political reasons that I understand. She knew that she had to do sweeps for the World Cup. There's no way around it. You can't have this world event that's going to be a global event that people will pay attention to and keep up with the agreements that were made to FIFA about general safety and cleanliness in that area without sweeps. You had to do it. But she knows that if you announce any kind of sweep in Seattle, it becomes a big political issue that the base is going to be upset about. And she decided to throw out this idea, oh, don't worry, we're going to do the sweeps. She didn't say it this way. We're going to do the sweeps, but we're going to put them in shelter. In fact, I'm committed to opening these 500. So she did it as a way to mitigate some of the political risks, which I understand. She still stepped in it because she made a promise that she wasn't able to keep. This was her signature homelessness policy prescription from the start of her campaign, or from the start of her mayorship.
If you talk to her about this, I would say, is this the number one issue of her campaign? Is it housing? Would you?
Housing, yes, for sure. She clearly made a big deal about this. She had the press release, the big press conference early on. This is what we're going to do. She found out what pretty much everyone would find out, whether or not you had a whole bunch of experience running any government agency. When you take up the mayor position in Seattle, you realize everything is incredibly slow. She would have known it was slow had she worked in city government in a meaningful way prior to this, but it was never going to happen. She's not the only one, in fairness to her, who've made these kinds of promises and then failed to keep them. Every single mayor,
every politician kind of makes these promises until they get in office. In every government office
since Housing First became a model. This was during the Obama administration. Every mayor since Ed Murray, Jenny Durkin, Bruce Harrell, they've all made similar pledges. Oh, we're going to open all these shelters, and then they don't do it.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to one other thing with Katie Wilson real fast, and we'll expand out into other parts of the state. You saw that stuff. We played this a little earlier on the show. But speaking of stepping in it, she had that Civics, what was it, Civics cocktail? Is that what it's called? Civic cocktail. She was asked about her stance on Starbucks. She famously was saying, hey, boycott Starbucks, never buy their coffee, yada, yada, yada. And then they asked her this question. Was this just like a slam dunk that she could have, or a layup, I guess, she just failed to make? Listen to this, and then I would like your reaction.
You made national news recently for comments made about
I was going to say, don't
businesses.
ask me about the millionaire tax. Hannah.
Well, made about businesses and the rich. Let's start with
She's talking about Fox 13's Hannah Kim.
Starbucks. Do you still support a boycott of Starbucks?
I had the pleasure of visiting the Pike Place Market Starbucks a little while ago, and I ordered I think it was a blueberry muffin latte. That was like a staff creation. So,
So that's a
I
no.
I guess I broke my boycott.
Okay.
But I don't know. What do you want me to say about that?
So you support them?
I absolutely support unions, and I support
that
workers.
question from the crowd.
Yeah.
What's your response to that?
It sounds like she wasn't prepared for that question, which seems to be, there are two questions you're going to get. It's about Starbucks and it's about Bai. Like, I don't know how you don't have a prepared answer, which seems to me to be really easy to get out of. She kind of implied this a few weeks ago when she first talked about this, that you have to separate out activist Katie Wilson from Mayor Katie Wilson. It's really easy to do. She could say, I don't want Starbucks to leave. I don't want them to fail. I also don't want the union workers to feel harmed at the Starbucks, blah, blah, blah. We've got to find a way to build a bridge so that they can succeed and we can treat our baristas fairly. Like, there are many different avenues to go down that would have been politically wise, and she just was not prepared. She's not particularly good at interviews, and we've known this. She acknowledges this. She's not the most comfortable yet. It'll come, I hope, at some point in time. Perhaps not. But this is not a good look.
Not a bright, shiny moment.
No.
And
by the way, a blueberry muffin latte?
Yeah, I don't even know if that's a real thing.
The hell is that?
I don't know if that's a real thing. And you know what? That's actually exactly what Starbucks is trying to stop right now, is like all of these off menu items. Their whole new thing to be profitable is they're like, let's cut down on the ridiculous things. That's not on the menu. She says a barista invented that at the local one.
Well, because they don't even have blueberry flavored.
I've never heard of a blueberry latte. Laura, do you drink? Have you ever heard of blueberry lattes?
No. And actually, the cafe that I work at on weekends, we've got easily 25 different flavors of different fruit syrups. We do not have.
I've never heard of that.
Apple. We have blackberry. We have lychee. We have mango.
And you've been a barista for...
Oh, we have 20. I'm not kidding. When people ask what flavors do you have, I have to hand them a printed list.
You should unionize
that's incredibly
and demand that the menu items go lower.
I want blueberry muffin lattes.
Listen, if I could unionize against our drink specials, which I never know how to make, I have to follow charts on a wall. Oh, tell me about it.
So wouldn't it be nice just to have that's what Starbucks is doing. They're just doing simple drinks.
Pare it down.
Absolutely. All right. Can we move out? You had another article on MyNorthwest.com.
SeattleRed.com.
I'm sorry, SeattleRed.com. That's right. Different website. SeattleRed.com about, is this a school board? Tell the audience the story, because it's attention-grabbing, the headline. People were kind of shocked by it for obvious reasons, but was it a school? Was this up in Bellingham or what?
It's Bellingham Public Schools. Okay. They have a school director by the name of Jen Mason. She's been there for several years, and she also happens to own a sex shop called Wink Wink. She labels it a female-owned, all-ages sex shop, which is a problem in and of itself to call it an all-ages sex shop. She's hosting a series of what she calls Uncringe Academy. It's a sex ed course for kids as young as 9 years old.
9?
I first covered these events back in 2021 where she was talking about it then in way more explicit details than she's talking about it right now. But it remains to me to be controversial to host these events at a sex shop. Now, it's not affiliated with her work, she says, as a school board director. I've heard from parents who suggested that their kids heard about this on campus. The school district, well, the school district previously, when I reached out to them, they said, we don't approve of these, we're not endorsing them. It just happens to be tied indirectly because of the school board director position.
Yeah.
But it's still wrong.
It's 9 years old. Are there? I assume some of the things in her shop are
things we can't say on the radio.
Things we literally can't say on the radio. So how would they be appropriate for a 9-year-old?
I don't know. She says it's a different, like the event space is separate from the sex shop portion of the. Still, I think it's a bad call and it's bad optics.
Yeah, when you're inviting second graders into your sex shop, I would think that would not be something.
At least wait until they're fourth grader.
At least maybe out of elementary school. Like, can we at least wait till they're in high school? That seems really bizarre to me. What's been the pushback in the local community? Are people upset by this, or are they just thinking, like, well, Bellingham's kind of an interesting place, so maybe this is okay?
It's a little bit of both. It's similar to what you would get if it happened in Seattle. You've got some people who say this is disgusting and outrageous, and then you have others who say it's not that big of a deal. It's whatever. It's the most natural thing in the world. This is the kind of story that doesn't change anyone's views. You either already look at this and say it's outrageous, or you look at this and say, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
I do wonder if there's not some person who's like maybe kind of in the middle of the road. They're like, listen, like we don't want to stop people from having conversations and yada, yada, whatever the accusations might be. But 9 seems very young.
9 is very young for sex education, regardless of the venue.
Here's another question I would have for her. What's her name?
Jen Mason.
Jen Mason. And this is at a Wink Wink. It's
called
Wink
Wink Boutique.
How did she arrive at the 9-year-old age? What did she decide?
Well,
she decided that 8 was too young?
She once held I think it was called a queer youth open mic for toddlers and above, like ages 0 to adult.
I didn't know toddlers could hold a mic.
Well, it's weak grip, but
oh, okay. Well,
I think an adult
maybe
has
a parent
to hold
would be holding
it
it for them. Okay, in that case. All right. I want to move on very quickly. We've just got a couple minutes left. Russell Wilson is about to be a commentator for CBS. I think it's NFL Today. I forget the name of the show, but he's going to sign a deal with CBS.
Not doing World Cup coverage.
He's not doing World Cup coverage. No. He's going to be commenting on football and giving his insights. Do you think he's going to be successful at doing that?
He will be as successful as he was as the quarterback for the Broncos.
That's not very good.
Yeah,
Jason.
He does not have.
He doesn't have what's
likable
called
personality.
It.
He's coming off of several bad years as a quarterback. It's a little bit different than Tom Brady, who's known only as being the GOAT, right? You've got and Tom Brady didn't start off his career great, but he wasn't bad. I think he's actually really good.
He's very good now.
I think he's actually really good. But he comes from a position where people actually want to hear what he has to say about football. I don't know anyone who's saying, what does Russell Wilson have to say about X, Y, and Z? I want him to succeed. Sure. I don't hold any ill will towards him, even though I find him to be incredibly insufferable and has been for the last several years.
Why could you possibly think that?
Hey, guys. Russell here. Yes, the typical boring, Russell, the robot Russell, the one you guys love to know.
This is a video he put out called Mr. Unlimited.
Exciting.
This was a character.
But anyways, everybody has to have an alter ego, right? And I've been thinking about what my alter ego would be, and I think I have an alter ego.
No, don't.
His name's Mr. Unlimited. You got to be unlimited. You got to have a thought process of being unlimited. So when people ask you, what you're thinking about or what you want to do in life or where you want to go, you got to be unlimited. Tell them I'm unlimited. You know what I mean? So when they ask you certain questions like,
what brings you motivation, Russell?
Mr. Unlimited.
I can't listen anymore.
He's the kind of guy who gets a blueberry latte from Starbucks.
I'd like a blueberry muffin latte, please. Is that going to be their new bestseller? People just ordering blueberry muffin lattes?
I find him so annoying. And it's funny.
Are you a fan of...
Initially, I didn't find him annoying.
Are you a fan of Sierra?
No one is a fan of Sierra.
Andrew, what is it? Sierra or Ciara?
I thought it was Sierra.
Sierra.
Well, that's the Mist.
No, what's the Mist?
Sierra Mist.
No, you're thinking of the soda pop.
That's what he's thinking of. It's Ciara, isn't it?
I don't know.
Laura, do you know? Is it Sierra or Ciara?
Right?
I think it's
Oh
Sierra.
my gosh, I don't know if I want to get into this.
Let's see. You think it's Sierra?
Yeah,
I think it must be Sierra.
Was it one of those things?
But so she was really famous back in the 90s.
She was never really famous. She was never really famous.
She was in a Missy Misdemeanor Elliott video.
Stop saying misdemeanor. It's Missy Elliott.
She was in a Missy Misdemeanor Elliott video. God. Misdemeanor Elliott video. I apologize. I want to get it right. And she was, I forget what the song was. And
one, two
step
or something.
1 2 step. 1 2 step. And then she got married to Russell Wilson, and now the two of them are a power couple.
They were never a power couple. They're still not a power couple.
I think they're very
powerful.
I think they're
not.
Well, they're very wealthy, and I think they're maybe going to be more powerful if the CBS thing goes well, which I think it could.
It could, I guess.
He's a competitor. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
Unlimited.
He's Mr. Unlimited.
Give me my blueberry muffin and a latte.
If he can shake that off, and he can
That's Taylor Swift.
Here's the thing: if he Taylor Swifts this, and he just goes by the book, and he listens to the producers who want to make sure that it comes across as cool, then I think he's got a chance at being very successful.
Okay.
And I wish him the best. I do.
Yeah, I do too.
He gave Seattle a Super Bowl, our first Super Bowl for the Seahawks, which was just thrilling. It was phenomenal, and God bless him. I hope he does well. It would be nice to bury the hatchet because I do think there was a lot of negative energy.
This city
way.
turned on him on a dime.
Yeah.
They have zero interest in listening to him. So just tell me who nationally is saying, I wonder what Russell Wilson has to say about this upcoming game. Not a single person.
Sierra. I think Sierra would be
I don't
interested.
even think Ciara
Also,
is
Missy Misdemeanor Elliott would probably be interested.
I would sooner listen to her do coverage.
She would be great.
Gosh, she's so good.
Yeah, she is very good. And she's got fun outfits.
Mm-hmm.
I do like
Big
her.
pants.
Yep. And they're shiny, and she's great. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Stick around. We got Friday Favorites next. Jason, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Friday Favorites coming up next. Stick around.
This hour is brought to you by Davis Law Group.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards. Breaking news coverage, best newscast, excellence in writing, investigative reporting, sports reporting, hard news. Capped with a prestigious prize for overall excellence. And we thank you, our audience across the Pacific Northwest. You are the reason we strive to be the Northwest's trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. No guessing, just answers. Over 100,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Take control and protect your long-term health by knowing your numbers. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Feel better. Live stronger. Start now.
Mark is 76, and his shoulder pain was getting in the way of him playing baseball. You heard that right.
baseball.
Yeah, there's a whole league here of old guys pretending like we're kids.
The pain from severe arthritis just wasn't going away.
It was like a nerve-type pain, and I couldn't sleep at night.
That's when Mark decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
Well, if I can avoid surgery anytime, you'd probably be better off.
Mark is back out on the diamond playing baseball.
So I moved into this retirement community, and I talked about my shoulder, and these old people here, they got all excited about it, and 2 of them now have gone to see Mark Wagner. They don't like driving into Seattle, so I drive them in.
He more than recommends Dr. Wagner. He chauffeurs. So whether it's a hip like mine or a shoulder, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. He's the most experienced in the Northwest with over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
Did you know that nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all? That may be the reason why your home is way too hot in the summer and way too cold in the winter. It may also be the reason that your energy bills are sky high. Right now, Insulation Northwest is offering a free inspection of your home's insulation. This is a $199 value, and it's absolutely free, no obligation. Just call today, and Insulation Northwest will arrange a time that works with your schedule. We'll perform a thorough exam of your home's insulation and give you the advice you need to start saving thousands. Everyone who calls today will also receive a free infrared screening of your home using the latest technology. This will help reveal any hidden flaws in your home's protective energy blanket. What do you have to lose? It only takes about an hour, and it's absolutely free. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. What would you do if the person you love needed round-the-clock care and you had no plan to pay for it?
I was very worried about running out of money.
When Mike's wife was diagnosed with dementia, he turned to LifePoint Law and Elder Law attorney Rajiv Nagayich.
And then he said, "You're going to be okay, but we have to get through these steps." Then I felt a whole lot better going into it. It was still a very difficult process, but in the end, I knew that there was someone there that if I needed help, understood what I'm going through.
LifePoint Law helped Mike protect his wife, his finances, and his future.
They laid it out really well up front. They give you a very in-depth plan. There are so many things that you don't know. I could never have done it on my own.
Register for a free LifePoint Law retirement planning seminar in Tacoma on June 4th, Mukilteo on June 6th, Lacey on June 9th, or Bellevue on June 13th. 6:30 p.m. Space is limited. Sign up at lifepointlaw.com. That's lifepointlaw.com.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it today at carsforkids.org. Your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call 1-877-CARS4KIDS to donate your car today. That's Cars with a K.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson has reversed course. She will now activate those stadium district surveillance cameras during the FIFA World Cup. Previously, Wilson refused to turn the cameras on, citing concerns over civil liberties. She said this at an event this week at the Seattle City Club.
So we have gone ahead and installed the cameras in the stadium district in recognition that this major global event is happening, so that if there is a credible threat, we can turn those cameras on.
Wilson now saying an updated threat briefing from Seattle Police and the FBI identified general but credible threats to the games, prompting her to activate those cameras. President Trump is touting a stronger than expected jobs report showing the country gained 172,000 jobs in May, nearly double what analysts were predicting.
We have good everything, good numbers, but the job numbers just came out and they were fantastic.
ABC's Taylor Dunn has a closer look at those numbers.
Leisure and hospitality went on a hiring spree in May, adding 70,000 jobs, including 48,000 just in food, services, and drinking places alone. Local government also saw a strong month, and healthcare continues to show strong gains. Meanwhile, we're continuing to see a decline or stagnation in white-collar jobs.
Now, the positive jobs report was bad news on Wall Street. Investors fear a hot labor market will keep interest rates higher. At the closing bell, NASDAQ lost 4%, down more than 1,100 points. Dow lost nearly 700 points. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg's super yacht has been spotted again in Washington.
The Everett Herald reports the 387-foot yacht known as Launchpad was moored near the Port of Everett Friday morning. Last week, it turned up in Lake Union and Elliott Bay, according to GeekWire. That was right after about 1,400 Meta employees here in Washington found out they were being laid off.
That's KIRO News Radio's Frank Lindsay. Stormy weather is hitting Puget Sound. The National Weather Service says tomorrow carries the highest risk, with lightning and heavy rain moving into the region from Snohomish County south. Meteorologist Matthew Cullen.
And the chances will really increase by mid-morning and continue through mid-afternoon or early evening tomorrow.
Gusty winds and downpours are possible throughout the afternoon. Now to the real-time traffic desk at 2:33. Here's Lori.
Traffic comes to you from Carpet Liquidators. Northbound 405 in Renton, you're going to see a slight slowdown, making about a 6-minute delay into Bellevue. Southbound 405 slows through Bellevue and northbound through Renton, as I mentioned, both directions of I-5. Pretty slow through Seattle. Southbound is slowing from Northgate. Bellevue to Everett now, a 4-minute delay. And Everett to Seattle, a 27-minute slowdown, making your drive an hour and 5 minutes. North 5 slows past Joint Base Lewis McChord. 167 heavy both directions through Algona, and southbound continues all the way into Puyallup. YPay Retail. Save big with the largest carpet and hardwood flooring selection at Carpet Liquidators. 7 locations. They got you covered at Carpet Liquidators. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
For this afternoon, we will see increasing showers, more steady rainfall for tonight, and then lightning and showers, chance for some downpours tomorrow, and also some snow in the mountains. Right now, 57 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
All right, welcome back to the show. Fridays around this time, actually usually about a half hour ago, every Friday, we do Friday favorites, but we had Jason Rance in, so we pushed it off a little bit. Plus Spike's not here, so it's kind of an abbreviated version. It's just Laura and myself.
There's only 2 of us.
Yeah, we could fit this into one segment.
Yeah.
Friday favorites. Laura, what's your favorite story of the week? I already know what it is, but jump into it.
I kind of gave it away at the start of the show.
Okay.
It was jury duty. Which was most of my week, by the way.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you guys talked about on...
You were out through Wednesday, right?
Tuesday and Wednesday, yeah.
Tuesday and Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell the audience what it was like, because I've been called for jury duty before, but I've never actually had to go in and sit there and be selected and then be accepted as a juror. It sounds fun. I would like to do it.
Honestly, thank you, Andrew. It was fascinating. I was geeking out about it.
Did you feel the weight of
Oh, definitely.
Did they let you know, you're deciding something?
They put the weight on you. If you go in there without the weight of how important your decision is, they will make sure that you understand it after the videos that you watch and the, information that they give you. This is very important. You're doing a huge service to us, and you have to remove bias, and you have to remain open-minded and hear all sides and try to keep a clear head. The entire day, so the trial took one whole day. Andrew, can you cut the music? Thank you. It's too distracting. The trial takes an entire day. We have lunch together as a jury. We frequently got kicked out of the courtroom so they could talk about things that we weren't allowed to know about, decide if they would admit. We was making a joke that we should all get T-shirts that said, refresh this recollection. That was the line that would kick us out of the courtroom probably 6 or 7 times.
Did they like that joke? They're like, get out.
Oh, come on. Everyone loved my jokes.
Sure.
I was making jokes during voir dire. I think that's why I got picked. But no, it takes the whole day, and you're spending a lot of time with the other jurors, but we couldn't talk to each other at all about what we were hearing until we were officially dismissed for deliberation.
Okay.
And that was when we were like, okay, straw poll, like, what are we all thinking?
Well, what do you do? What do you talk to each other about? Can you say anything to each other? Or are you just supposed to keep your mouth shut?
I mean, it was a little stiff at first, but then it was sort of like, okay, we can talk about work. We can talk about, we all kind of went around the room. We're like, what's your name? What do you do for work? Yeah.
But you couldn't talk about why you were all there.
Yeah. And it is, it really is like a slice of life. That was one of maybe the coolest parts of just being in jury selection is it's truly just a random selection of people like all different ages, all different walks of life.
Did you watch You've seen 12 Angry Men?
No.
You've never seen 12 Angry Men?
Spike has gotten on top of me before.
Andrew, have you seen 12 Angry Men?
That's like Spike's favorite movie.
No, I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it either. Okay. It's a generational thing then, because you were both a little bit younger. It's a very, very good movie. It's not Fonda. What's his name? Not Rich. It's not Jane. It's Jane Fonda's dad. Whatever his.
Spike is going to be dying.
Oh my gosh!
I'm sure
crazy.
he's listening to this.
Look up the Henry Fonda. Thank you, Henry Fonda. It's a phenomenal movie. I would assume that you would have watched it before you went in the next day, just to like kind of get ramped up.
I mean, we had like 5 hours during jury selection. Maybe they could have just put it on the screen.
It's a very good movie, although I think it would have encouraged somebody like try to stand out to be the 12th juror who's like, drawing a hard line and convincing everybody
honestly,
to look twice at things.
We had a very kind of chill, nice, neutral jury. I think they selected us for that reason. But during voir dire, it's like 25 different people in the room, and the attorneys are peppering you with questions, trying to get a sense of what kind of bias or life experience you might have, and then strike people for cause. Oh, yeah, he was there the whole time.
Is he making eye contact with you guys? Are you trying to avoid eye contact?
I made eye contact with him. Yeah.
Did you wink at him? You're like, I got you.
During when they kind of did a little sidebar to be like, okay, like who do you want? Who do we like? Right before they started going through all the jurors.
Were you nervous?
And I kind of made eye contact with him, and then I like looked away really quickly. I was like, I don't know. Am I allowed to do that?
Were you relieved when you got selected? Did you want to be on it? You wanted to be on the jury.
Yes, because weirdly it feels like a test that you want to pass.
Yeah.
Right?
You don't want to be somebody they don't want.
No.
Unless you don't want to do it, which I understand.
In which case you can raise your little number early and say, I have like a hardship or a reason I can't do this.
I have a conflict of interest.
Or beg the judge to excuse you.
You can pretend to be something that you're not, so you can try to get out of it. But you wanted to be on the jury. They select you.
I wanted to be on the jury. They pick me.
Were you excited? Were you just like, oh my gosh, I get to decide somebody's fate?
Yeah.
I just think it'd be fun to sit in judgment of somebody.
You think so?
Yes, I do think it'd be very interesting. I think the weight of it, I would take the weight of it seriously. I don't want to do it. I'm not putting it out there because I want to do it. I do think it would be
don't manifest jury duty for yourself.
Yeah, I don't want to manifest it. I got a busy life. Everybody has a busy life, but it is it's your civic duty to go out and do this. And so that's a nice thing. But it must have been really cool to feel like you were part of the whole system.
Yeah, it was cool to see it work from the inside like that. And also when this is obvious, but when you're the jury, they're really presenting to you. The attorneys aren't talking to the judge.
It's your decision.
It's our decision.
It's what's unique about our system.
They presented their opening statement. They presented their closing arguments to us. Every time we entered or left the courtroom, it said all rise for the jury, and everyone stood up for us, including the judge. It's very weighty.
I bet.
Yeah.
It's really did it make you feel confident in our judicial system?
It did, yeah. At the end of the day, we decided not guilty. We didn't think that there was enough evidence of intent for this. I talked about it a little bit more yesterday, but it was someone who had been charged with attempt of criminal trespass after he'd been kicked out of a bar. They were saying he attempted to come back in, and we just didn't see enough evidence on the video footage that they showed us that he was trying to force his way in.
Yeah.
And they were really strict with us about reasonable doubt. A reasonable doubt beyond a reasonable doubt is like 95%.
Yeah.
Like maybe 100. And that's a high,
super high bar.
It's an incredibly high bar. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's a fun system.
It was fun. Okay, what was your Friday favorite? I missed a lot of the week.
My Friday favorite came about today. And so it's kind of a cheat because we haven't had a chance to talk about this yet, but I'm going to anyway because I love this guy. Clint Eastwood has retired, finally, at the age of 96. Many people have been asking for many years, how much longer could he possibly go in the movie industry? It's an incredibly competitive, difficult industry to be a part of. He has somehow managed it for 69 years. He's been in it since 1955. But his son was just giving an interview recently to the Daily Beast. His son is a composer and works with Clint Eastwood on many of his films. His name is Kyle Eastwood. And he's basically said, like, yeah, my dad is retired. The last movie, ironically, that he was in 2 years ago at 94 was a movie called Juror Number 2, which is why I picked this. Because I thought, like, this like kind of dovetails nicely with your experience.
Is it worth a watch?
It was very well received. People really liked it, and so that was his final movie. And his son now says he's retired at 96. He's just going to be playing golf now and enjoying some time off. No, I don't know what he's going to be doing. 96 is unbelievably old.
I mean,
for a man, like 96 for a man, like for anybody, but for a man is insane. I can't believe he's still alive, but good for him. God bless him. I thought it would be fun though. I have a couple of clips of his most famous films, which I'll play for you real fast. Yes. This is from A Fistful of Dollars. This is a pretty famous scene.
Adios, amigo. Listen, stranger. Did you get the idea? We don't like to see bad boys like you in town. Go get your mule.
You see, that's what I want to talk to you about. He's feeling real bad. I don't think it's nice you laughing. You see, my mule don't like people laughing. Gets the crazy idea you're laughing at him. Now, if you apologize like I know you're going to.
Takes out all the bad guys. He was in so many amazing movies. The cool thing about Clint Eastwood is he was just a massive talent. Not only was he great on screen and a movie star, like in a classical sense, he was a movie star, like larger than life. He was also a brilliant director. And the range of movies that he directed is astounding. A lot of times you'll have directors who are like really good in one specific type of genre. This guy was everything. $1 Million Baby, 2004, Best Picture and Best Director Oscars. Gran Torino, 2008, American Sniper, 2014, Mystic River, 2003. Very different movies, but he's a huge talent. But I wanted to play just real fast. You can keep the music going if you want to, but from 1955, this is his very first movie role. 69 years ago, where he plays like a very small little part. He plays a lab technician who loses a rat. And who would have known in this tiny little film called Revenge of the Creature back in 1955 that he would be one of the biggest stars that Hollywood would ever produce?
Doc, didn't you say that among the lower animals there were no natural enemies as long as they were well fed?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, maybe so, Doc, but there were 4 rats in there when I changed my lights. Now there's only 3. It's my considered opinion that rat number 4 is sitting inside that cat.
Are you sure you fed them all this morning?
Sure, I always feed them.
And he finds a rat in his pocket.
How'd he get in here?
How'd he get in here? It's crazy to watch as you see that guy become just the biggest star. I mean, he might be one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest, in the history of Hollywood. Certainly over 69 years. That's insane. All right, we got a lot more coming up. We got text messages next. Stick around. Be right back.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including overall excellence and investigative reporting.
Just 29 hours later, Joshua Headley sent an unsolicited email to me writing, "I understand there may be a news story coming out."
Thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM.
Insulation rebates from PSC are at historic highs. American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $3 million in PSC insulation rebates last year, more than any contractor in Washington. Homeowners, business owners, and PSC trust American Crawl Space and Pest Services. Was your home built before 1990? Visit AmericanCrawl.com to see how much you can save on replacing your insulation.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy. Pretty much hands off, They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
A shot to center field. Julio is there, and Julio makes the catch!
At T-Mobile Park, you've always got the best seat in the house, even when there's not an actual seat, because you're in the T-Mobile pen.
They're going crazy here at T-Mobile Park.
The pen isn't just the perfect space to hang with your whole crew. It's where you can see Julio defend the no-fly zone 1 minute and watch Senor Smoke get ready for his big entrance the next.
Andres Munoz has simply been incredible.
Sure, the Pen is standing room only, but with a team this exciting, who wants to be sitting down? Mariners baseball. Try this out.
With Mariners value games, you can score tickets under $12 on select dates all summer, including June 16th through 18th against the Orioles. Plus, on Thursday the 18th, the first 15,000 fans will take home a Mariners Stars and Stripes soccer jersey thanks to Alaska Airlines. Get your tickets today at mariners.com. That's mariners.com.
You could sleep through the night without thinking twice. You could take a seat in the middle of the theater. You could drive without worry of where the next restroom is. You used to say yes, and somewhere along the way, you stopped. Not because of one big moment, because of 100 small ones. A little more urgency, one more trip to the bathroom at 2 a.m., one more mental note about where the restroom is. It happened slowly enough that it just became you. But it's not you. It's enlarged prostate, and there's a treatment called aquablation therapy, the only ultrasound-guided robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Find an aquablation therapist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466, 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
G. Scott here. Safeway wants you to know SunBucks gives qualifying families $120 per child for summer groceries. Some families are signed up automatically. Others need to apply. Find out if you should apply at freesummermeals.org.
All right, welcome back to the show. A lot of text messages to get to. Let's dive right in. Laura, go for it.
Yeah, on Katie Wilson's City Club comments, there were many, but the income tax or Starbucks boycott, Julie B says, why is she laughing?
That's a great question. I do think that's probably just a reaction when you feel awkward.
Yeah, it's kind of like an uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's uncomfortable.
Trying to diffuse the tension of the room.
She's also trying to figure out, all right, what do I say? Because it's obviously very bad for me.
Yeah, laughing and a sip of water.
Blueberry muffin lattes. I love coffee. All right, 206 says Howard Schultz and Starbucks should have been tarred and feathered the day he sold the Sonics to Oklahoma. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I share 206's anger at Howard Schultz for getting rid of the Sonics. I really do. But I do separate the two. Starbucks is a very good thing for Seattle and Washington as a whole. It's very bad that they're leaving and investing headquarters space in another state. But obviously it would be great if we had both here. It would be like, that's the perfect scenario. Let's have Sonics and Starbucks. That would be great. And yes, Howard Schultz bears much responsibility for the Sonics.
And then Katie Wilson also talked about homelessness. Jacob in the 253 says, house prices are high. That's why people want to do drugs.
Jacob, I get your point, and very good comment. 253 says housing costs in Seattle are very high, but Seattle does not encompass the whole world. People can live in areas like Tacoma or anywhere else, and there are still jobs. Living in Seattle is not any kind of requirement. 253 is perfectly right about this as well. My wife and I, just for housing reasons and for the, it was funny. It was actually both. We were renting here when we had a child. We had our first child. We now have 4. when we had our first child, we were renting here, living in Green Lake. We loved it, but the park became really disgusting. And this was about 11 years ago. And so my wife, who was walking our kid around the park, it just was not a safe place. And obviously you want spaces for your kids to be able to go outside and play. So we decided to move north. So we ended up in Snohomish County, which also, because it's cheaper, gave us the opportunity to buy a house. And so, yeah, it's for a mixture of reasons, which I'm sure also applies to why people are on the streets. But the idea that it's, people are only homeless predominantly because they just can't afford a place to live, I disagree with that.
And 425 says, Mayor has head up wazoo. It's drugs.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think it's drugs. On the 3 Mile Island accident and the movie that predicted it, The China Syndrome, Fernando in Seattle, who me and Fernando have become very simpatico. When I first started the show, I don't think Fernando and me got along very well. And now in the text messages, he and I are on a lot of the same page on a lot of things. So Fernando, thank you for the text. Fernando says, not to mention the coal industry also ragged on nuclear energy. Yes, there was a lot of contributing factors into us not adopting nuclear technology. I wish we would have, because I really do think from an environmental perspective, way cleaner and just way cheaper for people. I mean, it's kind of a miracle, and it's crazy to me that we don't have more of it. But maybe we will someday in the future.
Elena says, Hola, Jake. I'm reviewing some episodes of SNL from the 70s. The nuclear issue was dealt with. The witty writers of that era did a great job. Actually, every issue from the 70s is coming up again in 2026. Iran, China, the USSR, and Russia. I recommend watching those episodes.
Everything old is new again. It's cyclical. It happens every 30, 40 years. It seems like everything kind of comes back around. Absolutely true. All right, on data centers, let's see here. Sarah says, in Tennessee, they're building a mega computer from 3 supercomputers. It will be an FP64, which will be 283 trillion times more powerful. I don't know what any of this means. Hopefully you guys do. This new computer will be famous for 4 things: curing cancer and other diseases, nuclear fusion for perpetual free energy, biotech for transhumanism. That sounds scary. And quantum AI. Sarah sounds like she might be a time traveler from the
I had
future.
to Google transhumanism. It's like...
it's inputting you into the...
It's like making your body stronger, like no aging.
I thought that was like biohacking.
Yeah, it is biohacking, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I thought it was like putting your brain in a computer. That's what I thought it was.
I mean, that would be cool.
I disagree. I don't
know.
That scares me. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. I hope you have a great weekend. The John Curley Show is coming up next. We'll have the team back together on Monday, so tune back in. But you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the weather out there. Bye-bye.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the recipient of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence and Excellence in Writing.
We can't let hatred become the air we breathe. It poisons us all. Our strength is in unity.
We thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? During the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, now through June 15th, new customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi, just $50 a month for 5 years. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. Plus, add one line of Xfinity Mobile Select and you can save an average of $60 a month over Verizon and AT&T. You can even try it free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Savings based on 1 gig internet and 1 mobile select line compared to similar Verizon and AT&T plans over 5 years. After 12 months, regular rates apply to mobile select. Xfinity internet required. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable.
Do you notice sounds coming from your crawl space or attic, or possibly stale or foul odors in your home? This could be that rodents have gotten into your attic and crawl and have made it their home. They tear up the insulation to make nests to have babies. They contaminate it with their biological waste, which can be harmful to your health. And they ruin your home's energy blanket, costing you thousands of dollars a year. If you even think you may have a problem, call Insulation Northwest today, and we will come to your home as soon as tomorrow and perform a free, no-obligation inspection to determine what the problem is. This inspection normally costs $199, but it's yours free just for calling today. If we discover any problem with rodents in your home, we can get them out and keep them out and restore your home's protective insulation blanket back to brand new condition. Let Insulation Northwest give peace and comfort back to you and your family and save you thousands of dollars in energy savings. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. There is nothing so special as June in a Northwest garden. Hi, I'm Gina, a designer and sign painter here at Sky Nursery, and I have been a huge gardener since my now adult kids were shorter than my lavender. When I get home from work this time of year, the first thing I do is head straight out into the garden to see how everything is growing and enjoy the spring golden hour. I'm in love with this year's zinnias and lavender, and the rose I added this February is just about to bloom. So I've been spoiling it with a little extra organic fertilizer. And as any gardener does, I'm also trying everything I can to make space for just a few more flowers and veggies. If you still have room for new plants in your life, June is a great time to get them in the ground before the summer heat. Come into Sky and explore the colorful tapestry of trees and shrubs, summer veggies and herbs, fountains, containers, hanging baskets, and more. Sky Nursery, the gardener's garden store since 1953.